How long does it take for your dream to become real? One might believe it takes months or years of effort. But I tell you now, it takes as little as 4 minutes. And not 4 minutes of toil, struggle, or mental wrestling. No, it takes 4 minutes of inner alignment. 4 minutes of pure assumption. 4 minutes of divine feeling. This world, which appears so solid, so fixed, so external, is nothing more than the reflection of your own imagination, your own inner state. Change the state, and the world must follow. You are not a servant of fate. You are its author. Everything you have ever seen, touched, loved, or feared is your own consciousness made visible. Now I speak not of a theory, but of a law. This law is unchanging, constant, eternal. The outer world is a mirror. You may polish the mirror, paint the mirror, or curse it for what it reflects. But unless you change the face it is reflecting, nothing will alter. The face is your consciousness. The image is your experience. There is no other cause but imagination. And if imagination be the cause, then you hold the key. This key, if rightly turned, can unlock the vaults of heaven and spill its treasures into your world. So how do you use this key? How do you manifest anything in 4 minutes? I will tell you, and if you will do it, not just hear it, but truly do it, your life will shift in ways that the rational mind cannot comprehend. You do not need to believe in magic. You do not need to understand quantum mechanics. You simply need to feel as though your desire were already fulfilled. Begin with stillness. Turn away from the noise of the world. Enter the silence. Close your eyes and become aware of being. Not being someone or something, but simply being. I am. That is the beginning of all manifestation. I am is God's name, and it is your name. Before you call yourself John or Mary or Peter, in those 2 words, I am, all things live. But do not follow those words with lack. Do not say, I am broke, I am sick, I am alone. For in doing so you call into existence the very conditions you wish to escape. Instead, choose your desire. Choose it deliberately. Become very still. And then in that stillness, imagine. Suppose your desire is to be wealthy. Then in your inner sanctuary, do not merely think about wealth, be it. Feel yourself already possessing the riches you seek. How would you move? How would you breathe? What would you see, smell, hear, touch, if your bank account overflowed? Would your shoulders be more relaxed? Would your heart be lighter? Would your smile come quicker? Let the answer come not from your intellect, but from your soul. And now in that inner world, dwell. Do not rush. Do not doubt. For these 4 minutes, believe with your entire being that what you wish is already so. If doubt comes knocking, do not open the door. It will pass. All doubts belong to the outer man, but manifestation is the work of the inner man. The outer man believes only what he sees, but the inner man sees what he believes. This practice is not about straining or forcing. You are not trying to create something from nothing. You are aligning with that which already exists in potential. Creation is finished. Everything you could ever desire already is. You are not manifesting by effort. You are selecting by feeling. Every possible reality exists now, and you step into it not by action, but by assumption. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and it is yours. Do not concern yourself with how or when it will appear. The how is not your domain. Your task is the feeling, the knowing, the quiet confidence that comes when you live from the end. Let the world rearrange itself. It must. That which you have accepted inwardly must express itself outwardly. It is law. It is certain. It is inevitable. And if, after your 4 minutes of deep assumption, you return to your senses and see no change, do not despair. That is the test. Will you believe in the seen or in the unseen? Do not dig up the seed you have planted to see if it is growing. Leave it be. Let it germinate in the soil of your subconscious. Water it only with more feeling, more knowing, more gratitude. Walk as though it is done. Speak as though it is finished. Live as though it were real. That is true faith. And faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Some will tell you that manifestation requires work, hustle, and endless planning. Let them toil. Let them chase shadows. You know a better way. The world is yourself pushed out. Change self, and the world changes. Do not act from the desire. Act from its fulfillment. There is nothing to get. You already have it in consciousness. You are not moving toward your desire. You are moving from it. Even now, as you listen to these words, you can begin. Take a breath. Enter the silence. Choose your desire. Feel it real. Use all your senses. Not your outer senses, but the senses of imagination. See the faces that would congratulate you. Hear the words they would speak. Touch the objects that belong to your new world. Taste the champagne of your celebration. Smell the perfume of success. It is all within you now. You do not need more time. You need more feeling. Let the feeling take over you. Let it flood your being until you are drunk with joy, until there is no separation between you and your desire. The two must become one, for only then can the child of manifestation be born. And once you have felt it, release it. Give thanks. Say, "It is done," and go on with your day. You need not repeat the process endlessly. Repetition is not for God. It is for man who doubts. When you know it is done, you rest, you relax, you receive. And if ever the old state tries to return, smile and reaffirm, "That is no longer I. I am now he who has. I am now she who is. I am now he who is. I am now the one who lives the dream." The 4 minutes are not counted on a clock. They are measured in depth. A single second of true, burning, vibrant, unquestioned assumption is more potent than hours of wishful thinking. Do not wish, assume. Do not hope. No. Do not beg. Command. For you are not separate from the Creator. You are the Creator imagining creation into form. I once knew a woman who desired to be free from poverty. She had no income, no family, no prospects, but she had imagination, and she dared to use it. She would sit every evening and imagine herself writing checks, not for groceries, but for charities. She felt the texture of the pen, the smoothness of the paper, the warmth in her heart as she gave from abundance. She imagined herself no longer needing, but giving. In her heart she was already wealthy. Within 3 months, a forgotten inheritance was revealed. She did nothing to cause it. She did not chase it. It came to her, drawn by the magnetic force of her assumption. This is not luck. This is law. And the law does not discriminate. It works whether you know it or not. But when you know it, and use it consciously, your world begins to dance to your tune. You stop reacting, and begin creating. You stop complaining, and begin commanding. The secret is always the same. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Live in the end, and let the outer world catch up. You do not chase. You attract. You do not strive. You receive. You do not manipulate. You align. And alignment takes minutes, not years. But this world will test you. It will tempt you to believe in appearances. It will whisper, "See, nothing has changed." And that is the moment you must remain firm. You must declare, "I do not live by sight but by vision. I do not live by circumstance but by assumption. I do not live in the old world, but in the new one I have created within." And slowly or swiftly, the world bends, the people shift, the opportunities come, the money appears, the love arrives, the health returns. But it is not the outer event that matters. It is the inner transformation. For once you have learned to manifest anything in 4 minutes, you have discovered your true nature. You are not a creature of circumstance. You are a creator of worlds. So do not delay. Do not wait for permission, or a sign, or a better time. Go now. Enter the silence. Close your eyes. Become still, and declare, "I am." Then speak the unspoken desire, not to the world, but to yourself, and feel it real. Let your heart race. Let your soul smile. Let your whole being radiate with the truth of it. 4 minutes. That is all it takes. Not because the universe needs time, but because you do. 4 minutes to silence the doubts, to dissolve the resistance, to replace the old man with the new. 4 minutes to remember who you are. 4 minutes to call forth the world from within. You are the operant power. No one else to blame. No one else to wait for. It is all you. The world you experience is the echo of your inner song. Sing a new song, and the echo must change. Try it now. Choose one thing. Just one. Close your eyes. Go within. See it. Hear it. Touch it. Live it. Let your imagination wrap around it like silk. Feel the joy. Feel the pride. Feel the completion. Say in your heart, it is done. And then release it. Let it go. Not in frustration, but in peace. And when the sun rises again, you will find the world has shifted. Sometimes subtly, sometimes boldly, but it has shifted. And you will know. The inner creates the outer. Imagination creates reality. You have always been the author. Now you remember. Do not be deceived by the seeming delay between the imaginal act and its physical appearance. Time is not a barrier, but a servant. It yields only to conviction, not to fear. When the imaginal act is done in faith, done with the full acceptance that what you felt was real, then the seed is planted in the fertile soil of the subconscious, and nothing can stop its growth. Even if the world appears unchanged, beneath the surface, the waters are parting, the heavens are moving, and all things are being reshaped to reflect your inner decree. If you look too soon for evidence, you may disturb the roots. Patience, therefore, is not waiting in desperation. It is confident knowing. It is the rest that comes from certainty. What if doubt arises? Then return. Gently, not frantically. Return not to strive, but to feel again. Your work is not in the repetition of words, but in the restoration of feeling. The law does not respond to phrases. It responds to states. You may say, I am wealthy, 1,000 times, and yet remain poor, if your inner feeling contradicts your words. But one moment of genuine inner conviction, one moment when you feel the thrill of the wish fulfilled, can outweigh years of verbal affirmations. It is not about duration. It is about saturation. Have you saturated your being with the feeling of having? That is the question. This practice is an art, and like all true arts, it must be practiced in stillness and reverence. It is sacred. You are entering the Holy of Holies. When you enter your imagination with intention, there on that inner altar, you lay your desire, not as a supplicant but as a priest. You are not pleading. You are blessing. You are saying, this is now mine. I accept it. I bless it. I make it real. Let me remind you, there is no desire too great, no vision too grand. The law makes no distinction between a penny and a palace. It knows only feeling. It does not reason. It does not measure. It only reflects. If you can feel yourself into the reality of your chosen state, then the law will externalize it. Whether it be a bouquet of flowers or a kingdom, do not limit what you ask for. Limit only your disbelief. God gives you according to your assumption, not your effort. This is why some receive effortlessly while others labor in vain. The world calls it luck or coincidence, but it is only the law in motion. Those who receive are not always the most deserving in appearance, but they are always the most convinced in feeling. The outer man may call them dreamers, but the inner man knows they are creators. So in these 4 minutes, you are not merely visualizing. You are resurrecting. You are calling dead things to life. You are awakening a state that has slept within you all along. And once awakened, it begins to move through you, to inspire action, to draw circumstances, to magnetize people. It animates your world, for the world is but a shadow of your consciousness, and consciousness is always first cause. Let us say you desire love. Then do not ask for someone to love you. Be the one who is loved. Feel what it means to be cherished. What does it feel like to walk through your day knowing someone treasures you? How would you carry yourself? What glow would be in your eyes? That feeling is the key. Enter into it. Marinate in it. Let it permeate your very cells. And when you emerge, carry that love as though it already belongs to you. For it does. If your desire is health, then do not focus on sickness. Focus on vitality. Feel the thrill of a strong body, the comfort of well-being, the freedom of energy. In imagination, run if you cannot run. Dance if you cannot dance. Laugh from your belly. Breathe fully and deeply. In that state you are already healed, and as within so without. Or perhaps your desire is success. Then do not strive to be successful. Be it. What does your life look like as a success? Where do you live? What do you wear? Who do you meet? But most of all, how do you feel? What is the feeling tone of your fulfilled self? That tone is your passport. Feel it now, not in the future, not when the outer world gives you permission, but now. For now is the only time there is. This is the secret all the great sages have hinted at, wrapped in symbols and parables. To him who hath, more shall be given. Why? Because he has the feeling of having. And the law gives more of what is already accepted. It does not respond to lack. It responds to fullness. So act full, think full, feel full, even if the world tells you otherwise. Walk in fullness, and the world will conform. You are never manifesting things. You are manifesting states, and things follow states. So do not chase the things. Choose the state. Embody it, and the things must come. The world cannot help but reflect the state you dwell in. If you dwell in the state of being rich, richness must find you. If you dwell in the state of being loved, love must surround you. This is not fantasy. It is divine law, and you are the operator. Most people live as reactors. They respond to what they see, hear, and touch. But the awakened man responds to what he imagines. He does not live from facts. He lives from truth, and the truth is what he dares to assume. Do not wait for permission to feel rich. Do not wait for permission to feel rich. Do not wait for permission to feel successful. Do not wait for others to validate your inner world. They will only echo what you already believe. When the outer begins to shift, when the evidence of your assumption begins to appear, give thanks not as one surprised, but as one fulfilled. Say to yourself, of course it came. It had no choice. It was already real within me. I saw it. I felt it. I became it. It had to appear. That is not arrogance. That is certainty. That is the knowing that comes from union with your desire. If the change is slow, do not despair. The law is sure. Delay is not denial. Sometimes the roots must go deep before the tree appears. Sometimes the universe arranges events in ways you cannot yet see. But your only work is to hold the state. Be faithful to your inner world, for the inner is the real, and the outer is the shadow. Every great transformation begins within. The greatest inventions, the noblest acts, the deepest loves, they all began in someone's imagination. And what you now dare to imagine and feel will one day stand before you in flesh and form. So do not underestimate these 4 minutes. Do not treat them lightly. They are the 4 minutes in which you realign with God, with Source, with the power that breathes galaxies into existence. In those minutes you are not small. You are vast. You are infinite. You are the master key that unlocks every door. If ever you forget this, come back to the stillness. Close your eyes. Begin again. There is no limit to how often you may return, for the imagination is eternal, and every moment is a new beginning. Your power is not in striving, but in stillness. Not in effort, but in assumption. Not in seeking, but in knowing. You are the light of the world. You are the spark of creation. You are the imagination of God made flesh. Whatever you can assume, you can become. Whatever you can feel, you can manifest. And all of it, every joy, every miracle, every dream, is only ever 4 minutes away. So do not ask whether it will happen. Ask only whether you are willing to feel it real. That is the soul condition. Are you willing to shut out the voices of fear, the noise of doubt, and the habits of limitation, just long enough to touch the feeling of your fulfilled desire? For that feeling is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. That feeling is the voice of your higher self saying, it is done. And once that bridge is crossed, the world must rearrange itself to match the tone of your assumption. Now you may wonder, how can it happen so quickly? How can 4 minutes alter the trajectory of an entire life? Because the universe does not operate in hours or years. It operates in states of consciousness. Time as you know it is a servant of the eternal now. The moment you shift your inner state, you collapse the old path and open a new one. That shift is not bound by logic. It is bound only by belief. The world you see is only a mirror, reflecting the world you feel. So if the inner world changes now, the reflection must change too. It is law. This is why the mystics spoke in symbols. Because the mind rebels against simplicity. It wants 1,000 steps, a complex system, a journey through effort. But truth is always simple, too simple, in fact, for the rational mind to accept. It is the heart that understands, the heart that hears the whisper. Assume it and it shall be so. That is not poetry. It is instruction. Let me tell you again, gently and firmly, that you do not have to wait. You do not need more time, more resources, more preparation. You only need to align your inner feeling with the thing desired. Not someday, not when it seems reasonable. Now, feel it now. Live from the end now. Close your eyes, and step into the scene that would be true, if your desire were already fulfilled. Hear what you would hear. See what you would see. Most of all, feel what you would feel. This is your work. This is your power. The reason 4 minutes is enough is because feeling does not require time. It requires attention. Your mind may wander, but the moment you bring it back to your imagined scene, to your chosen state, You enter the timeless dimension of consciousness. There, all things are already yours. There, you are not hoping, you are knowing. You are not waiting. You are claiming. You are not reaching. You are receiving. In that moment, you no longer chase reality. You create it. This is the great turning point in a man's life, when he ceases to react to what is, and begins to live from what he imagines. He becomes the cause, not the effect. The master, not the victim. The scriptwriter, not the actor, lost in someone else's plot. And what is the first act of the master? To feel it real. To step into the scene behind the veil, and walk as one who already has. Many say, but I do not feel worthy. And I say, worthiness is not a condition, it is a decision. You are worthy because you are aware. You are worthy because you can imagine. You are worthy because the spark of the Creator lives in you, and that spark does not require permission to shine. Let your desire be the proof of your right to fulfill it. If it is within you, it is yours to claim. Do not ask the world to confirm your state. Confirm it yourself. The world is slow to respond only when the inner conviction is shallow. But when the conviction is deep, the world moves swiftly. You do not need signs. You are the sign. You are the living evidence of divine imagination at work. And every assumption you accept as true becomes a stone laid in the foundation of your future. Let no man tell you it cannot be done. Let no voice convince you that 4 minutes is not enough. For in 4 minutes of sincere assumption, you can do what years of action cannot. You can alter the blueprint of your reality. You can tear down walls of lack and limitation. You can birth a new self. And so when you rise from your chair, from your bed, from your silent meditation, rise as the one who already has. Move as the one who is already chosen. Speak as the one who is already blessed. Do not wait for the outer to change before you do. That is the way of the sleeping man. But you, the awakened, must change first, and the outer will follow as surely as dawn follows night. Each time you perform this 4-minute act, you are impressing the subconscious, and the subconscious, like the womb, does not question what it receives. It nurtures it, multiplies it, and brings it forth. It is the servant of your inner word, and your feeling is that word. If you persist in the assumption of your desire already fulfilled, the subconscious must obey. It has no other choice. You are the operant power. That means nothing happens unless you cause it. And you cause it not by struggle, but by alignment. The inner and outer are not two. They are one. The separation is an illusion. Your imagination is not less real than the world. It is more real. For the world is born of imagination, not the other way around. So when you sit quietly and feel the joy of having your desire, you are not pretending. You are creating. When you say it is done, you are not lying. You are declaring. When you walk in faith, you are not ignoring reality. You are commanding it. And the universe bends to the one who believes. Do not wait for circumstances to tell you what is possible. Tell your circumstances what is now true. The moment you accept the imaginal act as fact, the world must reflect it. Perhaps not in the way you expect. Perhaps not on the timeline you demand. But reflect it, it must. For the law is perfect. It does not err. It does not discriminate. It only responds. What does it respond to? Feeling. Not words. Not effort. Feeling. That is why 4 minutes is enough. Because one moment of true feeling can rewrite the script of your life. The man who lives in fear creates reasons to fear. The man who lives in love creates reasons to rejoice. Both are using the same law, but only one does so consciously. You must choose this day whom you will serve, fear or faith. You must choose the state you wish to embody, and do so without apology. For once you have chosen, the whole universe conspires to make it so. Doors open. People appear. Events unfold. And yet you will know it was not luck. It was law. The world will call you fortunate. They will say you are favored. But you will know the truth. You will know that in those 4 minutes you did the one thing that changes everything. You assumed. You felt. You believed. And from that inner world all outer things were born. So when the noise of the world distracts you, return. When doubt whispers in your ear, return. When nothing seems to move, return. The 4-minute path is always open. The throne of imagination is always waiting. You need no temple, no ritual, no mediator. Only the willingness to believe that you are what you choose to be. As you walk through life, let this practice be your compass. Not once a year, not only in moments of desperation, but daily, regularly, silently. 4 minutes in the morning, 4 minutes before sleep, 4 minutes in stillness where you become the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Because the secret is not in the doing, it is in the being. Not in the chasing, but in the knowing. Not in the hoping, but in the claiming. And if you can claim it within, if you can dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even for 4 sacred minutes, you will become a magnet for all that you seek. Once you become that magnet, your only task is to remain faithful to the state assumed. Do not look back. Do not dig up the seed with doubt. Do not wander from the imaginal scene you have impressed upon your soul. For the moment you entertain the possibility that it has not worked, you delay the very thing that is rushing toward you. Remain still in the knowing that it is already done. That is what faith is, not the hope that something might happen, but the confidence that it already has. Let others toil and strive. Let them measure their worth by effort and endurance. But you, the awakened one, understand the deeper law, that consciousness is the only reality. And if consciousness be the root, then every visible circumstance is merely the fruit. You do not need to prune the branches. You only need to nourish the root. Your assumption is that nourishment, the 4 minutes you spend dwelling in the state of the wish fulfilled, is water to the seed. It is sunlight to the soul. And just as surely as spring follows winter, the blossom of your desire will appear, often when least expected, and always in perfect harmony with your inner state. You must understand that the world does not give you what you want. It gives you who you are being. Not what you ask for with trembling hands, but what you assume with boldness. So become the man or woman who already possesses it. Carry yourself in thought, word, and deed as the one who is already chosen, already rewarded, already transformed. Not arrogantly, but reverently. For when you wear the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are honoring the divine spark within you. You are saying, I trust in the unseen, for the unseen is the cause of all that is seen. Do not make the mistake of measuring your progress by appearances, for appearances lag behind assumption. They are echoes of past beliefs, shadows of prior states. If you wish to change what is seen, change what is felt. Step into your imagination and revise the inner script. It does not matter what the facts say now. The facts are not final. They are malleable, soft clay in the hands of the potter. And you are that potter, shaping reality, not through force, but through the silent power of feeling. Let no man steal your vision. Let no external circumstance be louder than the voice within. When you have imagined it clearly, when you have felt it deeply, you have done the greatest act of creation possible. And if you persist in this act, if you nurture it with continued faith and thanksgiving, the walls will crumble, the mountains will move, and the world will bend to match your inner conviction. There is no exception to this law. It is not reserved for the few. It is not the privilege of the enlightened or the elite. It belongs to all who are willing to believe. You were born with the gift of imagination, not as an ornament of mind, but as the instrument of creation. It is not fantasy. It is the power by which the formless becomes form. And if you will give 4 minutes a day to this sacred practice, you will find that all things are truly possible to him who believes. But belief is not passive. It is a choice. It is a decision to dwell in the end, even when the beginning looks barren. It is the courage to smile at the invisible, to shake hands with the imagined, and to walk as if your prayer has already been answered. This is the secret. This is the way. Not through pleading, not through bargaining, but through assuming and receiving. You may begin today, right now, this very moment. No preparation is needed. No condition must be met. Simply close your eyes, breathe deeply, and ask yourself, if it were already true, how would I feel? And then feel that. Let that feeling rise within you like a wave, washing away the old identity, baptizing you into a new reality. Dwell there, rest there. Let every breath affirm it. Let every beat of your heart proclaim it. And when you open your eyes, carry that feeling with you. Let it inform your tone, your walk, your posture. Let it be the silent rhythm behind every action. For the 4-minute act is not confined to meditation. It is a seed planted in consciousness, and your whole day becomes the garden in which it grows. Protect it, nurture it, rejoice in it. If ever you falter, if doubt creeps in, if fear raises its voice, return again. 4 minutes of stillness can redeem an hour of worry. 4 minutes of alignment can rewrite the story. This is your true inheritance, your divine right to imagine boldly and to live joyfully from the reality imagined. So let the world rush. Let it chase and strive. You, however, will rest in the knowledge that everything you desire is already yours by right of consciousness. And as you rest, you will receive. As you remain faithful, you will witness the miracle unfold. Not because you fought for it, but because you accepted it. Not because you earned it, but because you dared to feel it real. In that feeling, simple, powerful, eternal, you will know the truth of all the sages, all the prophets, all the mystics who have walked before you. They did not teach effort. They taught alignment. They did not glorify suffering. They glorified imagination. And in your 4 minutes each day, you stand with them. You join the company of creators. You remember who you are. Because you were never meant to beg for crumbs. You were meant to command feasts. You were never meant to crawl in shadows. You were meant to walk in light. And if you dare to imagine your greatest desire, and feel it now with conviction, it must come to pass. For nothing can stop the one who knows that imagination is God, and that God in man is his own wonderful human imagination. And so, my friend, remember this. The power to manifest anything you desire does not lie in distant actions or endless waiting. It lives within you. In the sacred 4 minutes you choose to dwell in the feeling of your fulfilled wish. This is not a trick or a fantasy. It is the fundamental truth of existence. When you align your consciousness with the end already accomplished, you become the master architect of your reality. No circumstance can resist the force of a mind unwavering in its assumption. Claim this power now. Choose to believe with your whole being. Let those 4 minutes each day be the crucible where your dreams are forged into reality. Stand firm in this knowing, and watch as the universe conspires on your behalf, bringing forth the impossible, the miraculous, the divine, because you have dared to become what you imagine. This is your birthright. This is your destiny. Manifest boldly, and live from the end, always. I want you to imagine for a moment that everything you desire, every dream, every goal, every version of yourself you hope to become is already yours. Not will be, not might be, but is. I am telling you something most of the world will never understand. And yet it is the truth that governs all things seen and unseen. You do not become the millionaire version of yourself by chasing money, hustling endlessly, or striving with effort. You become that version of yourself by assuming right now that you already are. You must begin with the end in mind and then live from it. The outer world reflects the inner state. That is the eternal law. If you believe yourself to be poor, to be limited, to be waiting on a breakthrough, then the world will conform to that belief. But if you dare to feel, truly feel, that you are already what you desire to be, then the world must mirror that inner conviction. This is not fantasy. This is not hope. This is law. Now you may ask, how do I act as the millionaire version of me now, when my senses tell me otherwise? You must deny the evidence of the senses and accept the evidence of the imagination. You must clothe yourself in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That is the key. The moment you accept the state of being a millionaire, even while your bank account says otherwise, even while your surroundings may still reflect limitation, you begin to shift reality. Because imagination creates reality. Not thought, not effort, not action. Imagination. You must revise your concept of self. You cannot bring the new into your life while identifying with the old. The poor man, the man who sees himself as lacking, as struggling, cannot manifest abundance. That self must die. It must be buried. And from that burial, the new self is born. The self who is already abundant, already rich, already in possession of the fulfilled dream. And this new self does not strive or worry. He assumes. He knows. When you walk into a room, how do you carry yourself? When you look in the mirror, what do you see? The millionaire version of you walks differently, speaks differently, thinks differently. He has nothing to prove. He does not seek validation. He is, and that state of being radiates from him like a fragrance. It cannot be faked, because it is felt. So you must ask yourself not, what must I do, but what must I assume? If you were already the millionaire, would you be anxious? Would you be desperate? Would you constantly look around, hoping for signs? No, you would be still. You would be sure. You would go about your day in peace, knowing that all things are working for you, not against you. And it is this knowing, this inner stillness, that begins to draw all things into harmony with your state. Feeling is the secret. The state you occupy emotionally is what determines your reality. If you persist in the feeling of wealth, even when circumstances suggest otherwise, those circumstances must bend. They must conform. This is not wishful thinking. This is the law of assumption in action. And the law does not fail. You must dwell in the end. Not momentarily, not occasionally, but consistently. You must fall asleep each night as the millionaire version of you. Let that feeling saturate your being. Let it dominate your dreams. Let it become more real to you than anything the world says. Because the world is a shadow, a reflection. Or the soul is a shadow, a reflection. And the light that casts the shadow is your imagination. Do not ask how it will happen. That is not your concern. The moment you ask how, you step out of the state and back into doubt. Your only job is to accept the end as done. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and rest in it. The bridge of incidents will unfold perfectly. People will appear. Opportunities will surface. The very atoms of your world will rearrange to reflect your state. And you need do nothing to make this happen, except remain faithful to your assumption. There is a version of you, right now, who lives in abundance, who wakes up in beauty, who moves through life with ease, who blesses others simply by being. This version of you is not separate from you. It is you in another state of consciousness. And you have the power to step into that state now, this moment, by accepting it as real. You must refuse to entertain contrary thoughts. You must cast down every imagination that exalts itself against your assumption. When fear whispers, "It's not working," you answer, "It is done." When doubt says, "You don't see results," you declare, "I am the result." This is the discipline of faith. This is the spiritual muscle that must be strengthened daily. You are not manifesting money. You are manifesting a version of yourself that has money. Hear me clearly. You are not trying to get something. You are becoming someone. The version of you who already is what you desire to be. That is the one you must claim. And from that claiming, everything else flows. Begin now to speak as this new self would speak. Not arrogantly, but confidently. Speak blessings. Speak gratitude. Speak as if it is already yours, because it is. Your words have power, not because they are magic, but because they flow from your inner state. And when you speak from the state of fulfillment, the world must echo back your assumption. Walk differently. Sit in stillness, and see yourself in the home you desire. Driving the car you love. Giving freely to those in need. Not someday, not in a future time, but now. Feel it real. Smell the air. Hear the sounds. Touch the textures. Let the scene live in you, and you in it. That scene, fully accepted, will harden into fact. Do not be discouraged by delay. Delay does not mean denial. It means the roots are growing. It means the seed you planted is taking form beneath the surface. Keep watering it with your assumption. Keep shining the light of belief on it. And in time the fruit must appear. The world is plastic to your inner vision. It bends and molds according to the images you consistently hold. What image are you holding of yourself? If it is not the image of a millionaire, of a generous, joyful, free soul, then change it now. You are not bound by your past. You are not defined by your conditions. You are defined by your imagination. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot live in abundance in the inner world while worshipping lack in the outer world. You must choose this day whom you will serve, your senses or your imagination. And when you choose imagination, you step into divine power. You become the operant power, the cause of all things. Think of money, not as paper, not as coins, but as energy, an extension of your state. The freer you feel within, the more freely it flows without. When you see yourself as already abundant, the universe responds. It echoes your internal music. It must start today, in this very moment. Breathe and relax into the feeling of already being wealthy. Not in striving, but in knowing. Not in pushing, but in allowing. The millionaire version of you is calm. He knows the world is his mirror. He does not chase. He attracts. He does not doubt. He dwells. He does not react. He creates. If tomorrow you woke up and were already in possession of everything you've ever wanted, how would you act? How would you dress? What would you say? How would you respond to life? Now take that version of you and bring it into this moment. Let that version be the one who speaks now, who walks now, who decides now. That is how you collapse time. That is how you bridge the unseen and the seen. Live from the end, not toward it. That is the secret. That is the law. When you assume the end, all means are provided, all doors open, all paths straighten. You need not beg. You need not fight. You need only believe. This is not a performance. It is not acting in the sense of pretending. It is acting in the sense of embodiment. You are becoming in consciousness what you desire to express in form. And when the consciousness is fixed, the form follows, always, without exception. The outside world is a delayed reflection of the inner man. What you are conscious of being now will be your experience tomorrow. Therefore begin now to be the millionaire. Not to become, but to be. Sit with that identity until it saturates your bones. Until every word, every glance, every breath flows from that state. Let others doubt. Let others question. You remain faithful. You are not subject to statistics, to circumstances, to limitations. You are subject only to your assumption. That is your reality. That is your power. When you understand this, you no longer beg life to give you things. You realize you are the life giver, the creator, the potter, not the clay. You mold reality with your imagination. You command it by your state of being, and you rest knowing it is done. The world is waiting on you to show up as your true self. Not the self conditioned by lack, but the self awakened to power. The self who dares to believe that all things are possible. The self who knows that imagination is not fantasy, but the truest substance there is. So I say to you, as one who has walked this path and proven its truth, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Live from the end. Rest in the knowing. You are the millionaire now. Let the world catch up, and it will. Walk into every situation as if you are the one they've been waiting for. Enter rooms like your presence is the confirmation of answered prayers. Not from arrogance, but from awareness. The awareness that you are already in possession of the riches of your own consciousness. The awareness that nothing is missing, and nothing is broken. When you carry that awareness, people feel it. Circumstances respond to it. Life yields to it, because it always responds to the dominant vibration of your inner world. The millionaire version of you does not rehearse lines, does not seek favor, does not perform for applause. He lives, he moves, he breathes in the fullness of being. He doesn't ask, can I afford this? He asks, does this match my vision? He doesn't weigh decisions in fear. He decides from clarity. He doesn't check the balance. First he checks the feeling. That feeling of power, peace, knowing. Let that become your currency. The greatest wealth is not the money itself, but the state that generates it. The millionaire state is a vibration, a frequency. And once you tune in, money becomes the natural echo of that inner music. You don't manifest it once. You manifest it perpetually. Because you're living from a frequency that allows nothing else. That state will call forth the ideas, the connections, the moments of inspired action that make everything seem effortless to others. Yet to you, it's simply normal. You must get used to the new normal. Normal must now mean overflow, not barely enough. Normal must now mean generosity, not grasping. Normal must now mean joy, not tension. And the only way to do this is to rehearse internally the emotions of your future now. Sit in silence and feel what it feels like to look at your bank account and see an abundance of zeros in your favor. What does it feel like to send money freely to your family, your friends, your causes? What does it feel like to invest with clarity and ease? Not later. Now. That emotional rehearsal is more powerful than any business plan or strategy. For the consciousness that attracts wealth must precede the experience of wealth. You are not trying to create wealth. You are remembering who you are. Wealth is your natural state. Lack is learned. Scarcity is a distortion. But abundance, it's divine. The more you strip away the voices of fear, guilt, and unworthiness, the clearer you will hear the voice of truth. You were never meant to struggle. You were meant to shine. So stop apologizing for wanting more. Stop feeling guilty for envisioning a life of luxury, ease, and peace. These desires were placed in your heart not to tease you, but to lead you. Follow them. Trust them. They are signposts pointing toward the version of yourself who already exists, waiting only for your permission to emerge. When you give that permission, when you say yes to your own greatness, the universe echoes that yes with opportunities, with favor, with synchronicities too perfect to plan. But it all begins with that internal yes, that commitment to assume the millionaire state before a single dollar appears. That's where most people miss it. They want the proof first. They say, show me the evidence, and I'll believe. But the law says believe and the evidence will come. This is why assumption is so powerful. It places the burden of proof not on the world but on your imagination. And your imagination is always ready to provide. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You don't need better conditions. You need only one thing. A new self-concept. A concept that says, I am already it. That is the gate. That is the door. And the moment you walk through it, you enter a reality that was always waiting for you. Not because you earned it, but because you accepted it. There is no force outside of you withholding wealth. The only gatekeeper is your assumption. The only doorkeeper is your vibration. And you have the key in your pocket. Use it. Unlock the self that already has what you desire. The version of you who doesn't ask if, but assumes when. And soon when becomes now. Stop trying to change the world and change your state. The world will follow. It always does. It is law. Do not waste energy fighting shadows. Turn inward. Enter the silence. Feel the wish fulfilled. And live from that point forward. Even your imagination must become disciplined. Do not rehearse scenarios of lack. Do not replay past failures. Do not engage in internal conversations that contradict your desire. Speak from the end. Feel from the end. Live from the end. This is not a temporary performance. It is a permanent residence. You do not visit the millionaire state. You live there. You decorate the walls of your mind with images of joy, freedom, and abundance. You walk through the corridors of your imagination like one who belongs. You sleep in the bed of fulfillment. You wake up to the fragrance of success. And from this consistent dwelling, the outer world must align. You are not lying to yourself. You are speaking the truth in advance. Because the truth of your being is not what the world says, it's what you accept as real. Reality as you know it is nothing more than your most dominant assumption made visible. So choose carefully. Assume wisely. Let go of the need to hustle and grind your way to success. The real work is inner. The real labor is belief. The real currency is consciousness. And when you do that work, when you pay yourself in belief, in confidence, in awareness, then the physical currency follows effortlessly. You'll begin to notice something beautiful. Money comes not from effort, but from alignment. The right people call. The ideas show up in the shower. The messages you needed to hear appear in books, in conversations, in dreams. Life begins to feel orchestrated, choreographed, divine. And it is. It always was. You just finally attuned your consciousness to the right channel. You're no longer tuning into the frequency of lack. You're tuning into the frequency of overflow. You're not asking for wealth, you're broadcasting it. And everything in your world starts responding as if to say, ah, there he is, the one we were waiting for. You will smile, not because something happened, but because you now understand you are the cause. You are the root, the origin. You are the power that made it happen. And in that moment, fear dies, doubt dissolves, and the real you, the divine you, the millionaire you, takes the throne. From that throne, you don't just create for yourself. You create for others. You bless, you give, you inspire. Because true wealth is not what you have, but who you become. And who you become naturally blesses others. You become the living evidence that the law works, that imagination is power, that what you feel inside, you experience outside. You carry that truth, not in words but in presence. You don't need to convince anyone. Your life becomes the sermon. Your energy becomes the proof. People will say there's something about you. You seem so at peace, and you'll know. You'll know that it's not something you learned, it's something you remembered. Something you chose, something you assume. From there it only deepens. The state of abundance becomes so normal that anything less feels foreign. Lack becomes a stranger. Struggle becomes unrecognizable. You live in a rhythm of flow. And because you are no longer chasing anything, everything begins to chase you. You become magnetic, not because of effort, but because of embodiment. The millionaire version of you was never far away. He was always right here waiting for your yes, waiting for your permission, waiting for you to stop doubting, to stop analyzing, to stop postponing, and simply become. And now that you have stepped into that state, everything changes, everything bends, everything aligns. Keep going, keep persisting, keep dwelling in the end. Do not look for confirmation outside. feel it inside. And as you continue to feel it, think it, speak it, and live it, the world will bow to your inner world, because that's what it does. It must. Now as you dwell in this new state, you will notice subtle shifts, perhaps a message from an old contact, an unexpected check in the mail, an opportunity arriving at just the right moment. These are not coincidences. They are the universe responding to your dominant assumption. Your inner conversation has changed the outer dialogue. You have rewritten the script of your life simply by assuming the role you wish to play. It is essential to nurture this inner assumption daily. Like a seed planted in fertile soil, your imagination needs constant watering with feeling, faith, and attention. Do not allow the weeds of doubt and fear to creep back in. When you catch yourself slipping into old patterns of scarcity, gently return to the scene you have imagined so vividly, the scene where you are already the millionaire you seek to become. Let that scene fill every fiber of your being until it becomes your new reality. Remember, your imagination is not a fantasy. It is the most real thing about you. The physical world is but a shadow cast by your inner thoughts and feelings. When you align your imagination with the millionaire version of yourself, you create a blueprint that your external reality cannot help but follow. This is the essence of the law of assumption. You assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and the world transforms to match that assumption. Do not confuse this with wishful thinking or mere daydreaming. This is a purposeful, deliberate act of creation. It requires discipline and patience. Your thoughts and feelings must be controlled and directed with the same seriousness a master composer gives to his symphony. Each note must be deliberate. Each feeling must be chosen. The millionaire you is not impulsive or inconsistent. He is steady, confident, and unwavering. In moments of silence, close your eyes and live inside that version of you. See your surroundings, your home, your car, your office. Hear the conversations you have. Feel the emotions you experience: pride, gratitude, joy, and peace. Immerse yourself fully in this reality until it feels more true than your current circumstances. The more detailed and vivid your inner world, the more powerful the external manifestation. One of the greatest mistakes is to act as though you are waiting for the external world to change before you assume your new state. The millionaire you exists independent of any external condition. His wealth is first and foremost an internal reality. Money, opportunities, and success will follow as an inevitable consequence. As you cultivate this internal millionaire, you begin to think and speak differently. Your language changes. You no longer say "I hope" or "I wish." Instead, you say "I am," "I have," and "I enjoy." These words are not empty. They carry the weight of your belief. Your speech becomes a declaration of your new identity, and your surroundings respond accordingly. Surround yourself with reminders of this new state, images, affirmations, and environments that resonate with your vision. These external cues support the internal shift and help keep your imagination focused. But remember, the true power lies not in external objects, but in your feeling of reality. Objects can inspire, but they cannot replace the feeling of being already wealthy. The millionaire you also treats money with respect and gratitude. He does not hoard or fear loss. Instead, he flows with the energy of abundance, giving generously and receiving graciously. This flow creates a cycle that multiplies wealth rather than depletes it. When you adopt this mindset, you become a conduit for prosperity, and it moves freely through you. In your daily actions, embody the confidence and decisiveness of the millionaire self. Make choices from that place of certainty. Take inspired actions that align with your inner reality. These actions will not feel like struggle, but like natural steps forward. The universe supports your every move when you are aligned with your true self. Avoid comparing your current state with the millionaire ideal. Comparison creates resistance and doubt. Instead, accept where you are now, with compassion while holding steady to your new identity. Progress may appear gradual on the outside, but inside, transformation is complete and instantaneous. You are the artist of your life's masterpiece. Your imagination is your brush, your feelings are the colors, and your assumption is the canvas. Paint boldly and without hesitation. Do not wait for permission or perfect conditions. Create now, because the world you desire already exists in your mind, waiting for you to live it. As you continue to live from this place of assumption, watch for the doors that open. Opportunities will present themselves naturally. Relationships will shift to support your vision. Financial gains will arrive in ways you could not have anticipated. These manifestations are simply the echoes of your inner reality. Be patient and persistent. Doubts may arise, but do not entertain them. Return quickly and repeatedly to the feeling of the fulfilled wish. This is your spiritual work and your greatest power. Your outer world will follow, reflecting the unwavering certainty you hold inside. The millionaire you is not an unattainable dream, but your deepest truth waiting to be acknowledged. Step into this truth fully and fearlessly. Act now as if you are already that person. Speak, think, and feel accordingly. The universe responds to your assumption because it cannot resist the reality you choose to embody. Live with the expectation that all your desires are already fulfilled. There is no delay in the realm of consciousness. Time and space bend to your belief. The moment you truly accept your millionaire self, the physical world rearranges to prove it. This is the great secret taught by Neville Goddard, that the outer world is a mirror of the inner state. Change the state within, and the world must change without. Act as the millionaire version of you now, and your life will become the testimony of that truth. Keep your mind focused, your heart open, and your feelings pure. Persist in this inner knowing without wavering. You are wealth itself. You are abundance itself. You are the millionaire you have always dreamed of being, right here, right now. Feel into the essence of that truth deeply. Let it saturate every thought, every breath, every moment of your day. When you awaken each morning, greet yourself as the millionaire version of you. Before the noise of the world intrudes, take a few minutes to dwell in the feeling of having already arrived. Visualize your life as if it is unfolding perfectly in alignment with your highest vision. Notice the sensations in your body, the ease, the lightness, the expansive joy. These sensations are the signals of your alignment, the proof of your new identity. Carry this feeling into every interaction. When you speak, let your words reflect the certainty of your success. When you move, let your posture convey the dignity of one who commands their own destiny. When you think from a place of power rather than limitation. This daily practice creates a feedback loop that strengthens your assumption and makes it more tangible. The more real it feels inside, the more real it becomes outside. You will also notice a shift in your relationships. The millionaire version of you attracts people who reflect that reality. You begin to connect with mentors, allies, and collaborators who support your vision. Doors that were once closed begin to open effortlessly. Opportunities that seemed rare or out of reach now come to you naturally. This is the law in action. Your inner world magnetizes your outer experience. Yet do not become attached to how or when these manifestations appear. The millionaire you understands that the universe's timing is perfect, even when it defies logic. Trust this timing without question. Your job is to maintain the feeling of the fulfilled desire, not to micromanage the process. Let go of the need to know every detail. Instead, nurture the faith that what you have assumed is already done. Remember, the power of assumption is rooted in faith. Faith that your imagination creates reality. This faith is not blind. It is born from experience. Every time you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you reinforce the reality of your assumption. Each act of faith dismantles old beliefs and rewires your consciousness toward abundance. You may ask, what if doubt arises? Doubt is natural but temporary. When it comes, acknowledge it without resistance. Then gently return to your imagined scene. Do not wrestle with doubt, for struggle feeds it. Instead, soften your attention and refocus on the reality you choose to inhabit. The millionaire you is patient and persistent, not frantic or desperate. As your inner world grows richer, your outer world will follow suit in ways that surpass your expectations. Money will flow easily. Ideas will flow freely. Inspiration will flood your mind. You will find yourself saying yes to opportunities that align with your vision, and no to those that do not. Your confidence will become a beacon, drawing success to you like a magnet. Living as the millionaire version of yourself is a practice of presence and consistency. It is a commitment to the truth that your reality is yours to shape. It is a daily choice to honor the power of your imagination over the conditions of the moment. In this commitment lies your freedom and your fortune. Embrace this practice not as a temporary experiment, but as a lifelong journey. Each day is a new chance to deepen your assumption, to expand your vision, and to live more fully as the wealthy, powerful, and fulfilled person you already are in the realm of spirit. As you continue this inner work, the boundary between imagination and reality will blur. You will find that your dreams and your life are one and the same. The millionaire you will no longer be a distant ideal, but your present experience. This transformation is the essence of manifestation, the art of becoming. You are the master of this art. Your imagination is the instrument. Your assumption is the melody. Play it boldly, with conviction and joy. The world will dance to your tune. You are wealth, you are abundance, and you are the living embodiment of your highest vision. Step into this truth now. Act as the millionaire version of you, not tomorrow, not next week, but now. Live fully, feel deeply, and assume confidently. The universe will respond with open arms, and your life will unfold as the magnificent masterpiece you were always destined to create. And so you move forward, not as someone hoping to be rich, but as someone who knows they already are. Your consciousness shapes your world. Your belief births your reality. You are the millionaire now. So hear this now with absolute clarity. Your outer world is but a reflection of the world you choose to live within. When you act as the millionaire version of yourself now, fully, deeply, unwaveringly, you do not wait for riches to come. You command them to appear because your consciousness has already created their blueprint. This is not a distant dream or wishful thinking. It is a living truth, accessible to you in this very moment. The power to transform your life lies not in external circumstances, but in your assumption, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Own this power, embody this reality, and watch as the universe rearranges itself to mirror your inner conviction. You are wealth itself. You are abundance itself. Act now, live now, and become the millionaire you already are in the deepest core of your being. Your empire awaits your command. I will tell you a secret, and if you are wise, you will listen not with your ears, but with your heart. For the words I am about to share with you have changed my life forever. I stand before you not as a man of luck, but as a man who discovered the divine laws of consciousness. And I did not win the lottery once. I did not win it twice. I won it 8 times. Not by chance, not by effort, but by repeating a few sacred words. Words that summoned the unseen into form. Words that echoed through the chambers of my imagination and turned themselves into gold. The outer world is only a reflection of the inner conversation. This is the fundamental truth I want you to grasp tonight. If you can accept this truth, not intellectually, not academically, but viscerally, you will unlock the same power that I discovered. I do not come to you as a gambler. I come to you as a mystic, a creator, and so are you. The lottery is merely a symbol. Money is merely an effect. The cause of wealth, the cause of abundance, the cause of repeated miracles, lies not in the ticket or the numbers or the odds, but in the assumption, yes, the bold assumption, that you are already in possession of what you desire. When I tell you that I won the lottery 8 times by repeating certain words, I am telling you that I impressed upon my subconscious mind a reality that was not yet visible to the eyes, but was more real than the world itself. What were those words? I will tell you soon. But you must first understand the law behind them. For without the law, the words are powerless. Without the understanding, they are but echoes in a void. But with understanding, they become the voice of God speaking into existence your every desire. In the silence of my room, night after night, I withdrew from the senses. I turned inward. I closed my eyes not to sleep, but to awaken. I imagined. I felt. I spoke. And above all, I believed. I believed so completely in the reality of my desire that the outer world had no choice but to conform. It was not a matter of hoping, it was knowing. You see, the words I repeated were simple. It is done. I have won. That's it. It is done. I have won. But I did not merely say them. I felt them. I infused them with the feeling of victory, of excitement, of profound peace. I repeated them until they became the only truth I knew. I said them in the morning as I walked. I whispered them at night before sleep. I allowed no doubt, no contradiction, no outside opinion to interfere with the sacred temple of my belief. I remember the first time I won. I had not a single dollar in my account. My pockets were empty, but my imagination was rich. I closed my eyes and I saw the check. I saw the numbers. I saw my name. I heard the voice say, "Congratulations." And I said the words again, "It is done. I have won." Over and over. I lived from the state of the wish fulfilled. I felt what it would feel like to walk into the store and claim my prize. I felt the weight of the joy in my chest. And then, as naturally as a seed becomes a tree, it happened. The numbers were drawn, and they were mine. The world called it luck. I called it law. And I did it again. You see, your imagination is not fantasy. It is the creative force of God within you. The world has taught you to ignore it, to dismiss it, to treat it as child's play. But I tell you, your imagination is more powerful than all the armies of the world. It creates realities. It molds substance. And when you combine it with unwavering belief, you become unstoppable. Each time I won, I went deeper into this knowing. I let go of needing to understand the how. The how belongs to the universe. The how is none of your business. Your job is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to live from the end, to act not as if something might happen, but as if it already has. I remember one evening, after my third win, a friend asked me, "Aren't you afraid it won't work next time?" And I smiled, because I had already seen the next win in my imagination. I had already received the congratulations in my mind. I had already deposited the check in my vision. There was no fear, because there was no separation. The thing I desired and the one desiring it were already one. And so I said again, "It is done. I have won," not as a request, not as a plea, but as a declaration, a decree, a knowing. There is something divine in repetition. For every time you repeat the truth, you drive it deeper into the subconscious. And it is the subconscious, my friend, that brings all things to pass. Not effort, not struggle, not logic, but the subconscious mind, impressed with feeling, saturated with belief, creates realities in ways your conscious mind cannot comprehend. Let me be clear. I did not chase money. I did not beg for riches. I assumed abundance as my natural state. I declared it. I spoke it. I felt it. And it came not as a stranger, but as a faithful servant. You must learn to deny appearances. When the outer world shows you lack, you must turn within and feel wealth. When the world says impossible, you must say it is done. This is the art. This is the secret. And this is how I won the lottery 8 times. There was a night, the 5th win. I almost let doubt creep in. I saw the news. I saw the statistics. I heard the voices of reason saying, "No one wins this many times." And for a moment the illusion of limitation tempted me. But I returned again to my words. I returned again to the inner sanctum. I repeated with more power, more love, more conviction, "It is done. I have won." I said it while walking. I said it while bathing. I said it while lying in bed, until the illusion dissolved, and only the truth remained. The very next week, the numbers aligned once again. It is not about the lottery. Do you hear me? It is about alignment. It is about faith. It is about oneness with the desired state. The outer event is merely a symbol of inner certainty. The lottery could have been anything: health, love, success. But the law is the same. The method is the same. And the words are the same. It is done. I have won. These words carry power because they imply completion. Not wanting, not wishing, not waiting, but having. When you say, "It is done," you collapse the future into the now. You make the invisible visible. You say to the universe, "I no longer seek, I possess." And the universe, obedient to your every assumption, brings it to you. When I won for the 6th time, I did not even flinch. It felt natural, normal, as it should be. Because I had lived that win 1,000 times in my imagination. I had seen it, felt it, declared it. So when the check arrived, it was merely a shadow of something long since created in the invisible. Do not underestimate the simplicity of this. The mind likes complexity. It wants steps and strategies. But truth is always simple. The simplest truths hold the greatest power. These words, "It is done, I have won," are not magical in themselves. They are magical because of the feeling you pour into them. They are magical because they represent the state of the wish fulfilled. You must say them not from desperation, but from fulfillment. You must say them not to make something happen, but because you know it already has. I remember before my 7th win, I sat quietly and asked myself, what would it feel like if I had already received it? Not what would I do, not what would I say, but what would I feel? That feeling, indescribable joy, gratitude, calm certainty, that feeling is the secret ingredient. And I bathed in that feeling. I saturated my mind with it.
I let it drip into every word I spoke. And the words again were simple. It is done. I have won. The check came. The numbers matched. And the world called me lucky again. But I was not lucky. I was conscious. You are not here to hope. You are not here to wish. You are here to know. And to know you must feel. To feel you must imagine. And to imagine you must be still. And turn inward. The 8th time I won, I wept. Not because of the money, but because I realized I had become the very power I once sought. I had become the embodiment of the truth. I no longer needed proof, for I was the proof. The outer world had become a mirror of my inner convictions. I no longer sought miracles. I became one. And so I speak to you now with certainty and love. The law is real. The power is within you. And these words, if spoken with conviction, with feeling, with faith, can change your life as they changed mine. It is done. I have won. Say them until your body believes. Say them until your heart beats differently. Say them until your mind no longer argues. Say them until the world must bow before your assumption. You are not separate from what you desire. You are not far from your miracle. It is already within you, waiting for your recognition. And when you speak the truth, not just with your lips but with your being, the world rearranges itself to make it visible. I do not ask you to believe me. I ask you to test it. Go into your room, close the door, withdraw from the noise, and repeat these words as if they were the very breath of God. It is done. I have won. Say them with joy, with stillness, with knowing, and then wait, not in anxiety, but in peace. Wait with the confidence of one who knows the seed must bloom. I won the lottery 8 times, not because I am special, but because I understood the law. You can do the same, not just with money, but with anything. The power is not outside you. The words are not external commands. They are inward awakenings. So now it is your turn. Say it. It is done. I have won. And do not wait to see the evidence. Become the evidence. Walk, breathe, move, and live as one who has already received. This is the way. This is the secret. This is the law, and it is yours. When I say live as one who has already received, I mean fully immerse yourself in that state, not momentarily, not sporadically, but continuously. Let it be your dwelling place. Let it be your natural habitat. Every breath you take, let it be steeped in the reality of the wish fulfilled. Every glance, every step, every word you speak, let it come from the knowing that it is already yours. You must become so familiar with the feeling of your desire being real, that anything contrary to it begins to feel foreign, unnatural, out of place. Each of my 8 wins was not a result of chance, but of surrender. I surrendered not to fate, but to certainty. I stopped questioning, stopped hoping, stopped doubting. I stopped measuring time. I simply knew. There is a power in knowing, a magnetic pull that draws all things into harmony with your assumption. And when you stand firm in that knowing, you become immovable. You become the still point around which the universe must revolve. I have walked through grocery stores, reciting the words silently in my mind. I have sat in cars at red lights, eyes forward, breath slow, repeating them again and again. It is done. I have won, not in haste, not in panic, but in the calm, reverent tone of a priest speaking truth into the altar of the unseen. And then the call would come, or the announcement would flash across the screen, or the check would arrive. The outer world obeyed the inner command. Understand this clearly. Every time I said those words, I was not trying to convince anyone else. I was not performing a ritual for others to see. I was not doing it for likes or validation. I was aligning my inner world, harmonizing my thoughts, saturating my subconscious with the reality of fulfillment. The repetition was not for the universe. It was for me. It was to build a bridge of feeling so strong that no fact could break it. I want you to feel the sacredness of those words. I want you to feel the vibration they carry. Speak them slowly. Let them drip from your tongue like honey. It is done. I have won. Again, it is done. I have won. Let the words rise from your belly, not your head. Let them carry the weight of truth, not desire. Say them not because you need something, but because you have already received.
The imagination must be claimed. The mind, if left unguarded, will default to facts, limitations, past experiences. But you are not here to repeat the past. You are here to create, and creation begins with the unseen. Every one of my wins began not with a ticket, but with a vision, a feeling, an inner decree. The numbers were the echo, not the cause. The bank account was the effect, not the source. Yet, most people live backward. They wait to see before they believe. They wait for proof before they claim it. But the law requires that you reverse that order. You must claim it first. You must believe before seeing. You must say, "It is done," even when your senses scream otherwise, especially then, because that is the moment of transformation. That is the crossing over. I have heard people ask, "But what if it doesn't work?" And I tell them it always works. The question is not whether the law works. The question is whether you will persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled long enough for it to materialize. Doubt interrupts the signal. Fear delays the manifestation. But unwavering faith accelerates it. I remember a particular win, perhaps the fourth. I had been feeling a bit tired, a bit discouraged, not because the law failed, but because I had allowed the opinions of others to penetrate my mind. "No one wins this often," they said. "It's rigged, it's random." And for a moment I forgot who I was. I allowed the shadow of doubt to linger, but then I returned again to the silence. I closed the door, I breathed deeply, and I returned to the words, "It is done. I have won." This time I said them not with excitement, but with power, with finality, with the kind of certainty that cannot be argued with. And something shifted. The atmosphere changed. I felt the warmth return to my chest. I felt the tingle of truth in my spine. And I knew once again I had crossed the threshold. The money followed days later. And so, my dear friend, you must speak these words as one who knows, not as one who wants, not as one who wants, not as one who hopes, but as one who knows. It is done. I have won. Speak them as though heaven itself has confirmed it, because it has. The moment you assume the state, the entire universe begins to conspire on your behalf. Paths clear, people move, events align, all because you dare to assume. This law does not play favorites. It does not reward the lucky and punish the unlucky. It responds to the one who feels, the one who assumes, the one who embodies the end as though it were the beginning. And this is what I did, again and again and again. Each time I stood at the threshold of a new desire, I did not beg, I did not plead, I did not wonder. I simply entered the state. I clothed myself in it. I wore it like a second skin. I spoke the words, "It is done. I have won." And I let the feeling rise in me like a tide. I let it take me. I let it become me. And then the world responded, not with a whisper but with thunder. I want you to know that your words are not empty. They are seeds. And every seed, when watered with feeling, when nurtured with belief, must bear fruit. It is a law, a divine law, immutable, eternal. I became a living witness to this law, not once but 8 times. And still I know it is only the beginning. You can begin today. You don't need the perfect circumstances. You don't need the right ticket. You don't even need a reason. All you need is the willingness to turn within, to say the words, to feel the truth of them, to persist. Close your eyes now, just for a moment, and imagine. What would it feel like if your greatest desire had already come true? What would it feel like if the money were already in your hand? If the call had already come? If the reality you long for were already yours? That feeling, that is your portal. That is the door. Step into it with your words. Let your words be the key. It is done. I have won. And then walk as though it were true. Think as though it were true. Feel as though it were true. This is the great secret. Not the words themselves, but the consciousness behind them. Not the sound, but the knowing. And when the knowing is firm, the world bends. It cannot help but bend. And I tell you now, not as one trying to convince, but as one who has seen the power firsthand. You are already what you seek. You are already the winner. You are already in possession of it. Let your mind catch up to what your spirit already knows. Let your words align with what is already true in the unseen. Speak them again. It is done. I have won. Say it with reverence, with joy, with finality. Let nothing shake you from it. Let no appearance distract you. Let no voice dissuade you. For the truth, when spoken with conviction, becomes flesh. It walks among us. It takes form, and the world must bow before it. Do you feel it now? That quiet certainty, that subtle shift in your chest, that warm knowing that what you desire is already yours. That is the power. That is the magic. That is the God within you saying, yes, you have spoken and it is so. And so you continue. You live. You speak. You move in this world not as one who waits, but as one who has already received. This is the path. This is the way. This is the voice of creation speaking through you. Let that feeling deepen. Let it spread through your body, like sunlight pouring into a dark room. Each time you return to the words, "It is done. I have won." You are realigning with the source. You are stepping again into the center of the truth, and that truth does not waver, does not tire, does not forget. It is ever present, waiting for you to claim it. There were days when the outer world looked exactly the same, days when nothing seemed to move, when the old thoughts tried to creep back in, whispering lies of delay, of impossibility. But I had made a covenant with my imagination. I had married the vision of the end. I could not betray it. So I stayed faithful to the feeling. I kept the inner atmosphere saturated with the reality I had chosen. I refused to be impressed by facts. Facts are old, they are history. And I am not here to repeat history. I am here to create destiny. I chose to impress my subconscious with a new truth. And that truth, when fully accepted, had no choice but to reflect itself in form. The world is clay. Imagination is the hand. Words are the sculptor's tool. And belief is the fire that hardens it into reality. So I ask you again, what are you repeating in your mind? What inner words are shaping your outer world? Are you rehearsing problems or declaring solutions? Are you replaying memories or recording prophecies? Because whatever you repeat becomes your rhythm, and your rhythm becomes your result. When I won for the second time, I realized something critical. I was no longer reacting to the world. I was instructing it. My words were not descriptions. They were commands. They were divine orders issued from the throne of consciousness. It is done. I have won. Those words did not describe my current circumstances. They declared my chosen state. And the world, faithful as a mirror, had to reflect it. The very structure of reality bent to accommodate my assumption. And it will do the same for you. You see, it's not about the specific lottery ticket. That is merely the symbol, the channel. What you're truly doing is calling abundance from the formless into form. You are aligning with the frequency of your fulfilled desire. When you dwell in that frequency long enough, when it becomes your home address, your permanent state of being, then manifestation becomes automatic, effortless, natural. That's what I discovered by the third time. I no longer needed to try. I simply needed to rest in the knowing. I didn't force, I didn't chase. I rested. And in that rest, everything came. I tell you truly, nothing stands between you and your desire, but your own inner conversation. Change the conversation, and the entire world changes with it. I changed mine. I stopped asking, will it happen? And began declaring, it is done. I stopped wondering what if, and began affirming, I have won. Not I will. Not I might. I have. I am. I do. These are the words of power. These are the vibrations that shape matter. There is no waiting in the mind of the one who knows. Time collapses under the weight of assumption. The future folds into the now. When you assume the end, truly assume it, time becomes your servant, not your master. This is why I could win again and again, because I had already gone to the end. And the end is always birth, not death. Creation, not repetition. Victory, not delay. Even in the moments of silence, when the world had not yet echoed my inner declaration, I knew it was already moving, like a seed beneath the soil, invisible but certain. I trusted that process. I did not dig it up with doubt. I watered it with words. I nourished it with feeling, and it bloomed in its perfect time, again and again, until the idea of winning was no longer a shock. It was simply the expected outcome, the natural outpicturing of my inner state. And so I ask you now, will you persist? Will you continue speaking the words until they become more real to you than anything else? Will you dare to believe in the invisible? Will you honor your imagination above your senses? Will you choose the reality of your choosing, not the one handed to you by circumstance? Because your desire already exists. It is not being created, it is being received. But you must tune your inner frequency to receive it. Your words are the tuning fork. They align your energy with the state you claim. This is why the repetition matters. This is why feeling matters. You are not saying words to get something, you are saying them to become something, to become the one who already has it, to embody the reality in full. And each time you do, the world reshapes itself around you, sometimes subtly, sometimes dramatically, but always faithfully, because the world has no choice. It must reflect what you are, not what you want, not what you need, but what you are. So become the one who has already won. Become the one for whom success is inevitable. Become the one for whom abundance is natural. You do this not by effort, but by assumption. By dwelling in the state. By repeating the truth until it's the only song you hear. That's what I did. 8 times. 8 unfoldings of the same principle. Not because I was different, not because I was chosen, but because I chose. I chose to believe. I chose to persist. I chose to ignore appearances and live from the end. And that end so vivid, so real, so alive in my imagination always came. It never failed. It couldn't. Because once you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and persist in it, it must externalize. It is law, not my law, not man's law, divine law, immutable, irrefutable. Even now, as I speak these words, I feel the familiar vibration in my chest, the sense of certainty, the peaceful power of knowing, that same feeling I felt before every win, that inner signal that says it is already done, it is already yours. Nothing more is needed. Just be still. Just believe. Just speak the truth over and over until it becomes the only reality you recognize. It is done. I have won. Let the words take root. Let them echo inside you until they become part of your breath, part of your identity. Speak them in the morning before the world speaks to you. Speak them at night when the world is quiet and the veil is thin. Speak them in the face of contradiction and watch the contradiction dissolve. Because your imagination is holy. Your word is sacred. Your assumption is power. And when you combine them, you tap into the divine. You become the creator you were always meant to be. And nothing, no odds, no delay, no doubt, can stop the one who knows. So now I leave you with this truth. Not as a theory, but as a living testimony. I am not telling you what might happen. I am telling you what does happen, what must happen, when you assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled and persist in it without wavering. I won the lottery not once, not twice, but 8 times. Not by luck, not by chance, but by law. And that same law is alive in you now. Let the world call it delusion. Let others laugh. But you will know. You will feel the truth stirring in your soul like fire, undeniable and eternal. You will rise above doubt. You will speak the words, not as a plea but as a decree. And the universe will obey, as it always has, as it always must. So go now, not to hope, but to assume, not to wait, but to become. Step into the end boldly. Walk with the authority of one who already possesses the promise, and say it again and again, until the heavens and the earth echo back your truth. It is done. I have won, and so you shall.
I want you to stop right now and realize something simple yet revolutionary. You are the operant power. Nothing and no one outside of you holds sway over your life. Whatever you dare to imagine is true, and persist in that assumption, will crystallize into fact. You may have read 1,000 books, listened to countless teachers, and searched for the magic formula to bring your dreams to life. But I tell you now, it all boils down to 3 simple words. These words, when accepted, not as wishful thinking, but as truth already established, can alter the very structure of your reality. These 3 words are, it is done. Let these words sink deeply into your consciousness. Do not merely recite them like a chant. Instead, feel the finality in them, the conviction, the certainty. Because in this teaching, which is founded upon divine law, imagining creates reality. Not imagining as a vague daydream, but imagining as living from the end. Seeing, feeling, and knowing the wish fulfilled. When you declare, it is done, you shift yourself out of the state of wanting and into the state of having. And that is the secret. I have said before, and I say it again, creation is finished. All that you could ever hope to be, do, or have already exists within you. There is no striving for what is already yours. The only thing you must do is move your awareness. And this is done through the use of your imagination. Every time you say, it is done, you are not asking, you are not pleading, you are not hoping, you are assuming. You are stepping into the consciousness of your desire already being fulfilled. Let us take a simple example. Suppose you desire a new home. You could spend your days worrying about the money, questioning how it will come, or waiting for circumstances to shift. Or you can go within, close your eyes, and dwell in the end. Walk through your new home,
in imagination. Feel the cool handle of the front door. Smell the fresh paint on the walls. Hear your footsteps on the hardwood floor. Do all of this in the silence of your own soul. And then say with finality, it is done. In that moment, you move beyond hoping. You claim the blessing, you accept that it is already so. This is not wishful thinking. This is a mystical act. It is the sacred power given to every man and woman to assume a state and fuse with it so completely that it must externalize. Do not underestimate the significance of these words. When you say it is done, you are claiming union with your desire. You are no longer separate from it. You are it. You are the man who already has the wealth, the woman who already knows love, the being who is already healed, already fulfilled, already transformed. There is no power outside of your own consciousness. God is your I am, your own wonderful human imagination. And when you say it is done, you are speaking with the authority of the divine. You are not informing God of something to do in the future. You are God, declaring that the thing is already completed. That is what Jesus meant when he said, when you pray, believe that you have received it, and you shall, not will receive. Have received, present tense possession. Finality, completion. Now the mind that is still rooted in the senses will protest. It will say, but I don't see it. It hasn't happened yet. There's no evidence. And this is where your faith must rise above appearances. Faith is not blind. Faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith says, I walk by assumption, not by sight. I walk in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And when you truly feel that it is done, not as performance, but as inner conviction, the outer world must conform. So many spend their lives waiting for the right time, the right person, the right sign. They live in the land of someday. But imagination knows no time. The only time is now. The only truth is what you assume to be real. The moment you dare to assume the wish fulfilled, in that moment, all of heaven moves to manifest it. Not because you forced anything, but because you aligned yourself with the state in which your desire already exists. You see, there are infinite states. States of poverty, states of wealth, states of loneliness, states of love. And at every moment, you are occupying one of them. You are never stuck, only identified with a certain state. The moment you say, it is done, and feel it to be true, you shift from one state to another. And because each state has its own world, its own events, its own future, your external life must rearrange itself to reflect that shift in consciousness. Do not concern yourself with the how. Leave the bridge of incidents to the wisdom of your own deeper self. You are not to construct the way. You are only to know the end and live from it. If the end is known, the means will follow. If it is truly done in your inner world, it must be done in your outer world. Life has no choice but to reflect the assumptions you live by. It cannot do otherwise. People will say, I said it is done, but nothing changed. But I ask you, did you feel it? Did you persist in the knowing? Or did you waver at the first sign of delay? You must live as if it were impossible to fail, as if the law cannot be broken. You do not plant a seed and dig it up every hour to see if it's growing. You plant it, water it with your belief, and trust the unseen process. So it is with your dreams. Declare them as done, and walk in that assumption. Talk from it, act from it, think from it, and watch what happens. This is not theory. This is experience. I have seen it work in the lives of those who dared to believe. A man who assumed he was wealthy, though his bank account said otherwise, found himself receiving unexpected income from avenues he could never have predicted. A woman who assumed she was in love, though she had no partner, met her future husband within weeks, not because she chased, but because she radiated the feeling of love fulfilled. In every case, it was not the words alone, but the feeling behind them. It is done means I have it now, not tomorrow, not someday, now. The mind may try to argue, but your work is not to argue. Your work is to feel the reality of what you have claimed. This is why I say, emotion is the key. Not forced emotion, but the natural thrill of knowing you already have what you desire. Imagine how you would feel if the dream were now fact, not hope. Fact.
Capture that feeling. Dwell in it. Return to it, day after day, like coming home. And each time you do, whisper to yourself, it is done. Let it become your silent knowing, your secret truth. People speak of manifesting miracles. But what is a miracle, except the logical outcome of your inner conviction? If you remain faithful to a state, the outer must obey. The universe is not chaotic. It is orderly, governed by law. The law is this: whatever you feel to be true becomes true for you. So choose wisely what you entertain. Choose the end. Choose the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And when doubts come, as they will, return to those 3 words. It is done. Let them anchor you. Let them become the foundation of your faith. You see, everything begins and ends within. The outer is only a reflection. If you wish to change the outer, change the inner assumption. And the simplest, most powerful way to do that is to claim your desire as already fulfilled. Stop asking for it. Stop yearning for it. Assume it, embody it. Speak of it as already true. Say to yourself, not as a mantra, but as a knowing, it is done. Then live from that truth. Let your actions be informed by it. Let your thoughts align with it. Let your conversations echo it. Do not contradict your assumption with words of doubt. Speak only from the end. This is how the law works. You are not hoping. You are creating. You are not wishing. You are becoming. And in that becoming, all things are drawn to you. I say to you now, if you will make these 3 words the center of your inner life, you will lack for nothing. Not because the words are magic, but because the assumption they represent is the key to all manifestation. It is done means I no longer seek. I no longer strive. I no longer wonder. I know. I accept. I receive. Try it. The next time you feel yourself desiring something, whether it be love, health, money, or peace, pause. Go within. Imagine the end. Feel its reality. Then declare with quiet power, it is done. And from that moment, act as one who already has it. Walk with the posture of fulfillment. Think the thoughts that someone with your desire would think. Live in the knowing that you are already the man, already the woman, who lives that reality. Do not be deceived by appearances. They will catch up in time. Your work is inner. Your responsibility is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and persist in that assumption. All else will take care of itself. You need not manipulate, force, or control. Simply know that what you have imagined is already true. And let life respond to your conviction. It has always been this way. The prophets knew it. The mystics lived by it. And now it is your turn. Your destiny is not written by fate, but by your assumptions. Change your assumptions and you change your world. And it can be done in an instant, in a single moment of true belief. So I leave you with this. Your dreams are not waiting for you in some distant future. They are waiting for your assumption of their reality. And the key that unlocks that door is in your hands. Use it. Say it. Feel it. Know it. It is done. And so it is. Let this truth continue to unfold within you. Let it permeate every fiber of your being. When you say it is done, you are not playing pretend. You are stepping into a divine act of creation. This is not some intellectual exercise. This is not a mental affirmation to trick the mind. This is a spiritual alignment, a repositioning of your entire consciousness. You are no longer outside the desire, looking in. You are within it, living from it, breathing in the air of fulfillment. There is a difference between thinking of a thing and thinking from a thing. Most people think of their desires. They long for them, they wish, they hope. But to think from the end, to think from the state of already having, that is the secret. That is where manifestation is born. If you want to be wealthy, think from wealth. If you want to be in love, think from love. Not as someone trying to get it, but as someone who already has it. And when you do, let those 3 words become your inner declaration. It is done. The mind conditioned by the senses may resist. It will say, but look around, nothing has changed. And here is where your faith must be greater than your sight. The outer world is nothing more than the projection of your inner assumptions. If you persist, the outer world has no choice but to rearrange itself to reflect the new reality you have accepted within. This is why persistence is the golden key. The world responds to sustained assumption, not fleeting desire. You must keep returning to the end, to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and let it become more real to you than what your eyes see and ears hear. Your five senses will try to pull you back into doubt, but you are not a slave to appearances. You are a creator. You are the operant power. You do not wait for permission to believe. You believe, and because you believe, it is done. When you understand the power of assumption, you will no longer beg life for scraps. You will no longer chase after the things you want. You will assume your identity as the one who already has. You will understand what the mystics meant when they said, "To him who hath more shall be given." Because when you assume you already have, life must echo back that reality. It is law. Unchangeable, perfect, eternal law. So when doubt whispers, "You're just imagining," you will respond, "Yes, I am." And imagining creates reality. You will hold firm to your vision, not because you see it yet in form, but because you know it is done. And in time, what you know in the silence of your heart will erupt into visibility. The unseen will become seen. The intangible will become flesh. Not because you forced it, but because you dared to assume. This is why I urge you. No matter what you desire, no matter how far away it seems, no matter how impossible it looks, go within and claim it as yours now. Feel the reality of it. Accept it in imagination. Let it become the truth you live by. Let it become the atmosphere of your soul. And when you have saturated yourself with the feeling of fulfillment, let your heart declare those three sacred words, "It is done." Do not look for signs. Do not chase evidence. Let your assumption be the sign. Let your inner knowing be enough. For when you truly accept the end, the journey is already complete. The path may unfold through 1,000 different scenes, but the destination is fixed. You have claimed it. You have lived it in imagination. You have accepted it as real, and so it must be. Remember, nothing comes from without. All is from within. The world is yourself pushed out. So if you desire to see change in the world, do not labor in the field of action. Labor in the field of imagination. That is where the real work is done. That is where the future is created. Not by hustle, not by effort, but by the silent, persistent assumption that the desire is already fulfilled. You may feel silly at first, walking through your day as if your dream is already reality. But let me assure you, that feeling of discomfort is the very sign that you are shifting states. You are breaking the habit of being your old self. You are stepping into a new identity. And every time you declare it is done, you are reinforcing that new state, not as a fantasy, but as your new truth. Your imagination is sacred. It is the creative power of the universe operating through you. To imagine is to create. To feel is to fuse with that which you desire. This is why you must treat your imagination with reverence. Do not use it to replay past hurts. Do not use it to reinforce your limitations. Use it to build, to construct, to assume greater and greater states of being. When you say, "It is done," you are aligning with a higher order. You are no longer identifying with lack or separation. You are identifying with God, the I am that dwells within. That is the true self. And it is always creating. The only question is, what are you creating? Are you creating from fear, from lack, from doubt, or are you creating from fullness, from love, from the assurance of your fulfilled desire? You must choose. And you must choose daily. In fact, you must choose moment by moment. For each moment is an opportunity to assume a new reality. Each thought is a seed. Each feeling a builder. So what are you building? What are you planting? When the winds of doubt come, and they will you return to the old state, or will you stand firm in your new conviction? You see, "It is done" is more than a phrase. It is a position of consciousness. It is a new dwelling place. It is the end of striving and the beginning of being. Once you adopt this state, the need to manipulate or force disappears. The anxiety of waiting fades. Because you know. You simply know. You know it is done.
With that knowing comes peace. A deep, quiet peace. A stillness that the world cannot shake. While others rush and worry, you remain calm. While others chase, you attract. Not because you are better, but because you understand the law.
You understand the power of imagination. You understand the authority of assumption. You understand that when you say it is done and truly feel it, reality bends to your belief. So continue. Hold that vision. Deepen the feeling. Return to it often. Let it saturate your nights and color your days. And as you do, let your inner dialogue become a song of fulfillment. Let your self-talk reflect the end. And when the world does not yet show what you desire, smile inwardly. For you know something the world does not. You know that your assumption precedes your experience. You know that your inner world is the cause and the outer only the effect. And so you do not waver. You do not beg. You do not fall back into the old self. You stand. You claim. You affirm. It is done. You rest in that knowing. You walk through life as if the invisible has already become visible. Not because you are deluded, but because you are awakened. You are awake to the truth that the unseen is more powerful than the seen, that imagination is the only reality. You do not rely on effort to convince the world, you rely on your assumption to reorder it. This is not arrogance. This is divine confidence. This is walking in faith, not by sight. This is stepping into the life that already exists within you. Every time you close your eyes and feel your wish fulfilled, you shift your state. Every time you dwell in the end, you are sowing seeds in the garden of consciousness. Do not worry about how it will come or when it will come. Those are not your responsibilities. Your only responsibility is to occupy the state of the wish fulfilled. Let your inner speech align with it. Let your emotions harmonize with it. Let your imagination bathe in the joy of it already being yours. The world around you will begin to shift subtly. Conversations will happen. People will show up. Opportunities will unfold, not because you orchestrated them, but because you assumed from the end. Do not underestimate the quiet, invisible movements that occur when you stand firm in your assumption. What seems like coincidence is nothing more than the outpicturing of your inner state. Life begins to mold itself around your belief, shaping itself to match the tone of your inner knowing. When you feel doubt rising again, because it will rise as the old self tries to reassert its grip, return gently to your inner chamber. Go back to that sacred space where all things are possible. Close your eyes and breathe. Feel the end once more. Hear the words in the silence of your soul, "It is done." Let them wash over you like a wave. Let them still the noise of the senses. Let them recenter you in the truth that all things are already accomplished in imagination. You are not trying to make it happen. You are not asking the universe for favors. You are declaring, assuming, embodying. You are saying, "This is who I am now." You are no longer the one who wants. You are the one who has. This is not delusion. This is revelation. This is you realizing your divine inheritance, your ability to create by feeling. By assuming the end, you become it. And what you are, the world reflects. You must understand this. There is no outer power deciding for you. You are the operant power. You decide what is true for you. And once you decide, persist in it. The moment you take your attention off of appearances and place it fully on the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you initiate creation. This is not just a theory. It is law. It is eternal. It is precise. The world mirrors your assumptions with unerring accuracy. The senses may scream otherwise. Circumstances may contradict you. But if you remain faithful to your inner vision, the outer must bow. That is the mystery. That is the beauty. That is the quiet power of creation. You do not force, you yield to the state desired. You do not fight the world, you rest in your knowing. You do not chase, you attract. Because in imagination it is already yours. And what is yours must come. Your only job is to remain loyal to the unseen reality. To nurture it, to water it with attention, to fertilize it with faith. And every time you return to the feeling of it is done, you reinforce it. You deepen your alignment. You make it more and more real, until it must crystallize into form. This is not magic. This is law, divine law. You begin to speak, think, act, and feel from this new state. Not occasionally, not when it's easy, but consistently. You move through the world with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their desire is already a fact.
You stop needing proof. You stop asking when. You stop questioning how. Because in the stillness of your inner sanctuary, you have seen it, felt it, lived it. And that is enough. This is why your 3 words are your anchor. In moments of fear, you repeat them. In moments of doubt, you rest in them. In moments of waiting, you lean into them. It is done becomes your mantra, your shield, your sacred song. And with each repetition you remind yourself, creation is finished. You have already received. You are no longer on the outside looking in. You are within, looking out. And so the dream is not a future possibility. It is a present reality. It is here. It is now. You wear it like a garment. You live it in silence. You walk in it, sleep in it, breathe in it. And even when the world seems unchanged, you remain unmoved. You know the truth. You know the cause. You know that feeling precedes form. So you keep the feeling alive. When someone asks you, where is your manifestation? You smile. Not because you doubt, but because you know. You know it is done. You know it has already been accepted in consciousness. And because you live from that knowing, you do not need validation from the world. The only validation you seek is the feeling itself. And once the feeling is real, the thing must follow. This is the way of all creation. This is the way the ancients knew. This is the path of the mystic, the awakened one. To turn away from the world and trust the unseen. To claim the end boldly, faithfully, joyfully. To persist in that claim until it becomes second nature. Until you no longer hope, but know. Until you no longer wait, but live. Let the old self fall away. Let the stories of delay and doubt dissolve. Let go of timelines. Let go of strategies. All you need is your imagination, your feeling, your assumption. All you need is the inner state that matches the outer desire. And once that state becomes familiar, once you return to it more often than the old story, the world will have no choice but to yield. So ask yourself now, can I feel it real? Can I walk in it as if it were already true? Can I drop the weight of wanting and pick up the joy of having? Can I let go of needing to see, and instead choose to know? These are the questions that will set you free. These are the questions that reveal the doorway. And once you walk through, you will never go back. You will live in the end, not occasionally, but habitually. You will stop reacting to what is, and instead respond from what you have claimed. The outer world will no longer control your state. Your inner world will dictate your reality. And every thought, every word, every breath will echo with those sacred words. It is done. You will find a new rhythm, a new center of gravity, a new sense of ease, because you are no longer divided. You are no longer battling between what is and what you want. You are at peace with your vision. You have surrendered to the reality of your fulfilled desire. And in that surrender there is power. There is clarity. There is certainty. It is not a weak surrender. It is the surrender of a creator. The surrender of one who knows their imagination is the workshop of God. One who understands that the moment the desire was born, the fulfillment was already prepared. One who understands that there is no gap between the imagined and the real, only the illusion of time. And that illusion disappears the moment you feel it real. So keep returning. Keep resting in the end. Keep clothing yourself in the feeling of already having. And when you wake, when you walk, when you sleep, when you speak, let those 3 words ring through your soul. It is done. There will come a moment, perhaps while you are walking, or just before sleep, or in the middle of an ordinary task, when you will feel a deep, unshakable calm. It is not excitement. It is not anticipation. It is stillness. It is certainty. It is the inner echo of the truth you have chosen to believe. That moment is the evidence. That moment is the sign. Not the phone call. Not the money. Not the opportunity. The real sign is the stillness. The quiet shift within, where you no longer wonder, you no longer seek. You simply know. This knowing is not cold or clinical. It is alive. It is vibrant. It sings through your being like a subtle hymn that only your heart can hear. And it tells you again and again, you are it. You are the one. It is yours. In this state you will no longer try to make the world bend to your will. You will see that the world was always reflecting your will. The real transformation was never out there. The real transformation was never out there. The real transformation was always your concept of self. Because you are not manifesting things, you are manifesting yourself. You are becoming the person who already has. And everything else is drawn to you by the law of resonance. The car, the house, the love, the success. These are all shadows, all reflections of the inner man. When you are inwardly rich, the world shows you wealth. When you are inwardly loved, the world shows you affection. When you are inwardly secure, the world offers you safety. It is always you, always has been, always will be. And so you keep choosing, over and over again. You choose to assume the end. You choose to dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not as a means to an end, but as the end itself. The feeling is the treasure. The assumption is the fulfillment. The world only comes after. And even when it does, you realize you are not as interested in the thing. You are in love with the power that brought it. You are captivated by the truth that you can be, do and have anything, not by force but by faith. It is not blind faith. It is not desperate wishing. It is the deliberate assumption of the truth you have decided upon. You no longer wait for permission. You no longer look for signs in the sky. You become the sign. You become the proof. Your very being, your speech, your movement, your presence, announces to the world what is already yours in the unseen. You do not need to declare it loudly, because the quiet conviction in your heart speaks louder than words ever could. Others may ask you how it happened. They may try to trace the path, analyze the steps, dissect the timeline. But you will know. It happened when you assumed it. It happened when you felt it real. It happened when you said, "It is done," and meant it. And from that moment forward, everything that showed up was just the bridge of incidents, the divine choreography that brought the invisible into view. What a beautiful dance it is. A dance between the seen and the unseen, between imagination and form, between the silence of assumption and the noise of manifestation. But the music begins within. The conductor is your belief. And once you hear it, once you trust it, once you move with it, the whole world joins the rhythm. Circumstances align. People show up. Time bends. Space folds. And what was once a desire becomes a living, breathing reality. Yet even then, you do not chase the next thing. You understand the source. You know that everything flows from the state of consciousness you inhabit. So instead of asking, "How do I get that?" you ask, "Who must I be to already have that?" And the answer is always within. The answer is always available. You step into the version of yourself where it is already done. And you wear that version like your favorite garment. You may begin to feel lighter, freer, more playful. The tension of trying fades. The anxiety of waiting dissolves. You no longer measure time in days or months. You measure it in alignment. You know that one moment of true assumption outweighs years of wishing. You know that 1 second of living in the end activates more power than a lifetime of hoping from the outside. You stop asking life to prove something to you, and you begin proving something to life that you already are. From this sacred awareness, new desires may emerge, not from lack, but from the joy of creation, not from need, but from fullness. You begin to desire not to fix something, but to express more of yourself. Your desires become gifts you give to the world, not cries for help, but songs of expansion. And the same process begins again. You feel it real. You assume the end. You rest in the knowing. It is done. You live this way not once, not sometimes, but always. It becomes the way you breathe, the way you dream, the way you walk. And you realize that life has always been responding, not to your prayers, but to your beliefs, not to your words, but to your state. And now you are the master of that state. You are the conscious creator, the chooser of realities, the silent, powerful, operant force behind everything you experience. Others may call it luck, they may call it fate, but you will smile, knowing it was never chance, it was choice. Quiet, deliberate, persistent choice. You chose to see the end. You chose to live in the end. You chose to be the one who has. And now the world bows to that choice. Now everything moves in harmony with your inner declaration. Now you are no longer the seeker. You are the source. As you go about your day, you remember again and again the words that began it all. The words that brought the dream to life. The words that carried you across the bridge of doubt into the land of fulfillment. 3 words. Simple yet mighty. 3 words, spoken not in fear but in faith. 3 words that changed everything. When you find yourself between desires,
When the next dream begins to stir within your soul, you will know what to do. You will not beg. You will not plead. You will not blunder. You will feel. You will assume. You will declare. And in the stillness of your heart, once more, you will whisper the truth that makes all things possible. The truth that bends reality to your will. The truth that calls forth what is unseen. It is done. So now, my dear friend, you stand at the threshold of infinite possibility, holding the greatest secret ever whispered to the soul of man. It is done. These 3 words are not mere sounds. They are creative acts, the spoken vibration of the Word made flesh. Say them not with your mouth alone, but with your heart, your mind, your entire being. Let them become your walk, your breath, your gaze upon life. You no longer have to strive, for the striving was only ever a forgetting of who you truly are. You are not here to struggle toward your dreams. You are here to embody them, to live as if the invisible is already visible, because it is, because you have seen it in imagination, because you have felt it real, and because the inner world, not the outer, is the true origin of all. Walk now in that assumption. Refuse to return to the old self. Turn away from appearances, and rest in conviction. Live each moment in the radiant knowing that you are the operant power, that nothing and no one outside you determines your fate. You are the dreamer, and you are the dream. You are the speaker, and you are the word. And what you assume to be true, faithfully, consistently, joyfully, must come to pass. Say it now, as one who knows, not one who hopes. Say it from the end, not toward the end. Say it from fulfillment, not from lack. It is done. And watch, with calm certainty, as the world reshapes itself to mirror your inner world. That is the law. That is the power. That is your divine inheritance. Use it and manifest the life your soul came here to claim.
Everything in this world begins in the imagination. What you call reality is nothing more than the shadow cast by your inner assumptions. To act as if you are going to have everything and then watch it appear, this is not magic, this is law, the law of assumption. The eternal truth that what you assume to be true, whether good, bad, small or grand, must in time harden into fact. You do not need to struggle for what is already yours by divine right. You only need to assume it is so, and live as though it were already done. Do not wait for the world to confirm your vision. The world reflects, it does not initiate. Act as if you're going to have everything. Not with arrogance, but with the deep peace that comes from knowing who you really are. You are not a beggar in this world. You are not waiting on fate or fortune. You are not at the mercy of events. You are the operant power. You are the cause of what you see, not the effect. And when you accept this responsibility, when you dare to believe that your imagination creates your reality, then you are free. Now let us understand something vital. It is not enough to want. You must live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That is the secret. That is the great mystery, hidden in plain sight. Most people want, but they do not feel that they already have. They hope, but they do not assume. They desire, but they do not believe. And yet it is belief, pure, persistent, embodied belief, that makes all things possible. So I ask you now, what would you do if you knew everything you desired was on its way? How would you walk? How would you breathe? What would your tone of voice be? What thoughts would you entertain? What habits would you leave behind? Not because you're trying to be better, but because they no longer fit the version of you that already has everything. If you knew the end was certain, would you still doubt? Would you still speak of lack? Would you still compare yourself to others? You see, the game changes when you know that the outcome is fixed by your assumption. Not a blind assumption, but an embodied one. One that saturates your inner conversations, that lives in your emotional tone, that seeps into your dreams. To act as if is to live in the consciousness of already being the person you want to become. It is not pretending. Pretending is shallow. Pretending knows it's not real. Acting as if means embodying the truth of your desire as though it were a memory. You don't struggle to remember something that happened yesterday. You simply recall it. So too must you recall the feeling of the thing desired, as though it already happened. Suppose you want wealth. Then do not ask for wealth. Do not beg for wealth. Do not even wait for wealth. Assume wealth. Walk in it. Rest in it. Let the world catch up to your inner state. Let the bank account reflect what your imagination already knows. Your imagination is the womb of creation. It is the divine faculty through which God expresses in man. And when you dwell in the end, meaning when you persist in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled, you have set the process of creation in motion. It is not your job to know how it will come. That's where so many lose their power. They try to force the means, to manipulate the process. But I tell you, the means will come of their own accord. Your only task is to live in the end. When you act as if you're going to have everything, and you truly feel that reality within you, the bridge of incidents will unfold naturally. You'll meet someone. An idea will come. A door will open. But none of these things are the cause. They are only the result. The world is your mirror, and the mirror cannot smile first. You must smile first, and then the reflection appears. In the same way, the world cannot bring you your desire until you first bring it into your inner world. That is the law. That is the secret behind every miracle, every transformation, every fulfilled dream. Now listen closely. You must assume persistently, not just once in a meditation, not just while visualizing, but throughout your day, in the midst of conversations, as you walk down the street, as you lie in bed at night. You must saturate yourself with the feeling that it is already done. You must carry yourself like one who is already crowned with victory, and not for show, but for real. For you know something the world does not. You know that imagination creates reality. This is not fantasy. This is the creative act. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to impress upon your subconscious mind a new pattern. And the subconscious does not argue. It does not analyze. It accepts whatever you persistently feel as true. Whether it's fear or faith, lack or abundance, sickness or health, the subconscious molds your world in its image. Therefore, become aware of what you're feeding your subconscious. Become vigilant of your inner speech. For what you whisper to yourself day after day becomes the script of your life. Do not say, "I'll never have enough." Say, "Everything I need is already mine." Do not say, "Why does it take so long?" Say, "It's already done." Replace doubt with knowing. Replace effort with assumption. Replace striving with trust. You don't need to push the river. You only need to align with its current. And that current is your belief. What you believe about yourself is what you will live. And belief is nothing more than an assumption repeated so often. It becomes second nature. When you act as if you're going to have everything, you give yourself permission to live from the end. And that is the true mark of power. Not force, but faith. Not trying but knowing. Not hoping, but assuming. And as you persist, your outer world rearranges itself to reflect your new state of being. It may not happen overnight, but it must happen. For the law cannot be broken. According to your faith be it unto you. Faith is not blind. It is imaginative. It sees what the eyes cannot. It touches what the hands have not yet held. And it walks boldly, because it knows who the author of life really is. You are not separate from the source of your desires. You are not a servant begging for crumbs. You are a son, a daughter of the Most High. The kingdom is within you. And when you claim that kingdom, when you assume its riches, its beauty, its power, you call it forth into the visible world. Now let us return again to the principle. If you act as if you're going to have everything, you must be willing to let go of the version of yourself that doubts, the version that fears, the version that compares and complains and waits for signs. You must leave it behind like an old garment, and put on the new man, the man who already has, the woman who already is. This is the great act of imagination, to clothe yourself in the feeling of your fulfilled desire. And you must do this without conditions. Not "I'll believe it when I see it," but "I believe it, therefore I'll see it." Not "I'll feel abundant when my account is full," but "I feel abundant, therefore my account will reflect it." You reverse the order of cause and effect. You become the cause and the world responds. There is no power outside of your consciousness. There is no other creator. Your world is yourself pushed out. Therefore, if you change your assumption, you change your world. It's that simple. And yet it requires courage. Courage to believe when the evidence says otherwise. Courage to persist when nothing seems to change. Courage to declare, "It is done," and then rest in that knowing. The moment you act as if it is done, you shift your timeline. You align with the version of you who has it all. And from that moment on, everything conspires to bring you face to face with your assumption. People will change. Circumstances will shift. Paths will open. But do not look to the world for confirmation. Look within. That is where the change began. And that is where it is sustained. You are always acting on some assumption. The question is, what are you assuming now? Are you assuming things are hard? Are you assuming nothing ever works out for you? Then that too shall appear. But if you act as if you are loved, successful, wealthy, inspired, if you feel that as your reality, regardless of what the eyes see, then that too must come to pass. Do not wait for proof. Be the proof. Do not wait for change. Be the change. Do not wait for the world to give you permission. Claim what is already yours in imagination. That is where all creation begins. So tonight, as you lie in bed, do not drift into sleep thinking of what is missing. Think only of what is already yours. Fall asleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let your last thought be one of victory. Let your dream be colored with the tones of fulfillment. For as you sleep, the seed you have planted in imagination will take root, and in time it will bloom. You do not need to know how. You only need to know that it is done, and walk in that knowing. Talk in that knowing. Think from that knowing. And the world, like a faithful servant, will reflect your assumption back to you in ways you could not have planned. Act as if you're going to have everything, not because you're trying to trick the universe, but because you understand the law, because you know that what you assume to be true becomes your experience, and because you trust the divine power within you to bring all things to pass. This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual law. This is your inheritance. Claim it boldly. Live from it daily. And watch, just watch, how everything you ever desired begins to appear, not as a miracle but as the natural consequence of your inner state. Now go into the silence and assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do it with love. Do it with joy. Do it with certainty. And watch how the universe rearranges itself in your favor. It always has. It always will. Do not concern yourself with what the world says is realistic. Realism is the creed of those who have forgotten the creative power within. It is not your job to adjust your desire to fit the facts. It is your job to assume the facts will conform to your desire. And they will. For the truth is this: what you accept as true within you becomes true outside of you. Not through struggle, not through force, but through natural, inevitable divine law. If you persist in the feeling of already being, already having, already living in your desired state, then the outer world must follow. It is not optional. It is not a matter of luck or fate. It is the result of the only true cause, your own consciousness. Therefore take your attention off what you see and place it upon what you know to be true within. The eyes of the flesh may lie, but the eyes of imagination never do. Imagination shows you not what is but what can be, and more importantly what must be when you accept it as so. So many say, I'm trying, and yet they do not see. But trying is not assuming. Trying still holds doubt. Trying is effort, and effort implies separation. But assumption is still. Assumption is faith. Assumption is knowing. And it is only when you enter that state of knowing, that inner peace, that confident expectancy, that the world bends in your favor. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to master every thought. You simply have to return, again and again, to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When fear knocks, return to the feeling. When delay appears, return to the feeling. When doubt arises, return again. Persist. That is the only requirement. Persistence in the assumption. And if you do that, the bridge of incidents will unfold in ways you could never script. The right people will show up. The timing will align. What once seemed impossible will become inevitable. Now let me tell you something most overlooked. The assumption must feel natural. It must become so familiar, so habitual that anything less feels strange. And that comes through repetition, through inner rehearsal, through soaking yourself in the vision of already having. You walk in it, you breathe it, you dream in it, you speak from it. You no longer ask, when will it happen? Instead you rest in the peace that it already has. This is how the great ones have always lived. They saw what others could not see. They believed in what was invisible. And they acted not from hope but from assumption. And so their worlds transformed to match. You too must do the same. You must be the one who dares to believe even when others call it foolish. You must be the one who holds the end in mind when the means look missing. Because the one who lives in the end has already won. And life must mirror that inner victory. Your power is in your decision to assume. And assumption is a quiet act. It doesn't shout. It doesn't plead. It simply accepts. And what it accepts, it receives. The mind may doubt. The senses may contradict. But you stay in the state. That is your work. You may go to your job.
speak with friends, handle daily duties. But all the while the inner state remains. You carry the knowing like a secret treasure in your chest, and that knowing radiates through everything you do. People will sense something different. They may not know what it is, but they'll feel it. Because when you walk in assumption, your world becomes magnetic. What you are within calls to itself without, even if nothing appears to change for a time. Do not waver. You are not looking for signs, you are resting in fulfillment. The seed does not sprout the moment it is planted, but beneath the soil life is stirring. So too your desire is germinating in the unseen. Keep it alive through your assumption. Keep it watered with your belief. And when the moment is ripe, the harvest will come. Every great manifestation is born this way. It is not sudden. It is the result of an inner reality that has been assumed again and again until it becomes natural. So do not be discouraged by appearances. Appearances are the last to change. The root must be formed before the fruit appears. The unseen must take shape before the visible can reflect it. Your only task is to remain faithful to the vision, to live in it, to breathe it in. And when others ask how you can be so calm, so confident, so certain, you will smile, for you know something they do not. You know that reality follows imagination. You know that consciousness is the only cause. You know that acting as if is not deception but alignment with the greater truth. You will find that as you persist in the feeling, your desires no longer feel far away. They begin to feel inevitable. They begin to feel like memories from the future. You no longer chase. You no longer plead. You simply walk in the state of already having, and everything rearranges to meet you there. You may wonder, is it really that simple? Yes, it is. But simplicity is often overlooked, because the mind craves complexity. The mind wants to do, to figure out, to control. But the creative act is one of surrender, of assuming the end and trusting the process. And the process is governed by law. What you assume must be, and the world will not disappoint. So act as if you're going to have everything. And do it with joy. Do it with gratitude. Do it with faith that what you are seeing within is more real than what you see without. The world is not your master. It is your mirror. It reflects always the contents of your consciousness. And as you persist in the assumption that you are already in possession of your desire, the mirror must reflect that image. You will see evidence, little things at first, synchronicities, ideas, changes in people's behavior, doors opening where before there were only walls. But don't cling to the signs. Let them come and go. Stay in the state. Stay in the knowing. Stay in the feeling that it is already done. You don't have to convince anyone else. This is your inner world, your secret place. The law does not require permission or approval. It requires only your assumption. So assume boldly. Assume joyfully. Assume quietly. And as you do, you'll discover something wonderful. That the universe is far more responsive than you ever imagined. That life is not against you, but is simply reflecting your own inner dialogue. Change that dialogue, and you change your world. Now is the time to let go of waiting. Waiting keeps you in the state of lack. Begin to live from the end now. Let every choice, every action, every thought be informed by the version of you who already has it all. And from this place you will move differently. You will speak differently. You will make decisions not from fear but from abundance. And that shift will change everything. Your assumption must become your identity. Not a mask. Not a performance but a true embodiment of the state desired. You must become the one who already has. You must fuse with that self in imagination, until there is no separation between who you are and who you want to be. And when you do that, reality has no choice. It will conform.
Persist. Continue. Assume again. Let the inner vision become more real than the outer facts. Let the feeling of having be the atmosphere you live in. And in time, the outer world will catch up with your inner conviction. It must, for it is law. You are not asking for something to come to you. You are walking as though it already has. This is the divine secret. You are not the beggar at the gate. You are the one who holds the key. You need not plead, nor chase, nor strive. You need only assume. The assumption is the birth of the new reality. In that moment of true acceptance, of silent knowing, something shifts. Reality bends inward. The world starts to organize itself according to your belief. Not because it is impressed by your want, but because it must mirror your inner state. Watch how your speech changes
When you truly believe, you already have what you once longed for. No more asking, how will it come? No more entertaining doubts. Instead, your words reflect confidence. I already am. I already have. It is mine. And this shift in conversation, especially the silent conversation you hold with yourself, alters the vibration of your being. You are no longer resonating with lack, but with fulfillment. And fulfillment draws its own reflection. You walk differently when you feel rich. You look others in the eye differently when you feel chosen, successful, wanted, and whole. It's not arrogance. It's not delusion. It is the natural confidence that comes from knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly in your favor, and that knowing is your superpower. It magnetizes circumstances, opportunities, people. They come not because you chase, but because you attract. This is not philosophy, it is law. The law of assumption tells us that your outer world must reflect your inner convictions. It cannot do otherwise. If you dare to persist in the assumption that you are already the one you wish to be, the world will mirror that truth back to you, down to the finest detail. You will see your reflection in the events of the day, in the people you meet, in the unexpected turns of fortune. And none of it will surprise you, because deep down, you already knew it had to happen. You accepted it before it arrived. You may think, but I don't feel it all the time. That is all right. Return to the feeling, gently, quietly. Do not force it. Invite it. Let it wash over you, like warm light. The more you dwell in that state, the more natural it becomes, until one day, you'll realize that the feeling has taken root. It is now your default. You don't have to conjure it. It lives in you. And from that place, your life will begin to move in rhythm with your inner certainty. You must remember, there is no power outside of your consciousness. The world is not acting independently. It is only responding to the seed you plant within. So plant wisely. Plant with intention. Imagine with precision. And then assume the feeling of that fulfilled state, as if it were already yours. Because it is. In the mind of God, in the realm of the unseen, it is already complete. Your job is simply to bring it into visibility by assuming it so. The world cannot resist the energy of the one who knows. There is a calmness in that kind of certainty, a magnetic force. People sense it. They are drawn to it. Circumstances bend to it. And this is not something you create through effort. It is something you allow by surrendering to the feeling. Feel as though it is done, and it will be done. All things begin in imagination. It is the womb of reality. And what you continually dwell upon in imagination becomes clothed in fact. So stop waiting for the world to change and begin living as though it already has. Your assumptions harden into facts, not because you force them into existence, but because you live them internally long enough for them to externalize. You may be tempted to ask, but what if nothing happens? That question arises from doubt. Doubt is the thief. Doubt interrupts the flow of manifestation. But faith is the bridge. Faith walks forward with no visible proof, trusting that the invisible is more real than the visible. And faith always rewards itself. Act as if you're going to have everything, not because you're trying to fool the universe, but because you're aligning with the deepest truth of your being, that you are already whole, already powerful, already chosen, already loved, already abundant. And as you embody that truth, the world will conform. You don't need to explain this to anyone. Let your results speak for themselves. Let your life become the evidence of the unseen. Those who once doubted you will be the first to ask how you did it. And you will smile, for you will know it was not effort, not struggle, not pleading, but assumption. The only reason things remain unmanifested is because we continue to dwell in the state of not having. We think of the desire instead of from it. And so it remains at a distance. But when you shift, when you move into the state of already having, it rushes toward you. The outer cannot help but reflect the inner. That is the law. Even in the silence, something is happening. Even when it seems like nothing is moving, everything is moving. Reality is rearranging itself in the unseen to match your assumption. So be still, be faithful, and above all, be consistent. Do not dip in and out of belief. Let your inner world remain unwavering. Then watch as the outer begins to echo your inner truth.
You are not here to earn your desires. You are here to accept them. Grace is not given to the worthy, it is given to the receptive. You are worthy because you exist. You are deserving because you imagine. And what you imagine, you become. So imagine wisely, assume lavishly, walk boldly, and know that as you act as if you're going to have everything, you are inviting the universe to do what it was always ready to do. Fulfill your every assumption. You see, life is not reacting to your effort, it is responding to your consciousness. It is not about how hard you work or how many hours you toil. It is about the story you silently tell yourself, the role you cast yourself in, the scene you repeat in the theater of your mind. That is the root. And from that root grows the fruit of your experience. So instead of working harder, assume more deeply. Instead of chasing outcomes, embody their essence. Feel now what you imagine you would feel then. And by doing so, you collapse time. You dissolve delay. You bring the future into the present. Everything that is to come is already within you in seed form. And the only condition for its flowering is your willingness to persist in the assumption that it already is. That is why I tell you, do not beg, do not hope, do not wish, assume. Live from the end, speak from the end, think from the end, and let your every gesture, your every step, reflect the inner assurance that you are already living the life you once longed for. If it is love you desire, assume you are already cherished. Feel what it is like to be seen, heard, adored. And do not look outside for confirmation. Let that feeling grow within. If it is wealth you seek, assume you are already prosperous. Feel the peace, the freedom, the security that comes from knowing you are always provided for. If it is health, assume you are already whole. Feel the strength, the ease, the vibrancy of a fully restored body. Whatever it is, embody it now. You do not wait for the world to give you permission. You give the world instruction through your inner state. The moment you act as if, you issue a command, and the world listens. It does not argue. It does not delay. It simply reflects. And the more real your assumption becomes, the more vivid your imagination, the faster it appears. This is not fantasy. It is fidelity to the unseen. Every great teacher has pointed to this truth in their own way. As you believe, so shall it be done unto you. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. According to your faith, be it unto you. These are not poetic verses. They are blueprints for manifestation. They are the very mechanics of creation. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot dwell in doubt and expect fulfillment. You must choose the state you will live in and remain faithful to it. When you falter, and you will return to the feeling, do not criticize yourself. Do not condemn your humanity. Simply return, gently, persistently, as often as necessary, until the feeling becomes familiar, until it becomes your home. Then it will feel stranger to doubt than to believe. That is when manifestation accelerates. The world around you will begin to whisper confirmation, a word overheard, a sudden opportunity, a chance meeting. These are not coincidences. They are echoes of your assumption. They are the first fruits. Do not ignore them. Do not dismiss them. Rejoice in them. They are signs of alignment. And if you remain steady, more will follow. Bigger, brighter, bolder. Until the life you once imagined is the life you are living. Acting as if is not pretending. It is not play acting. It is entering the state of consciousness that matches your desire. It is tuning yourself to the frequency of the thing wished for. You become a vibrational match to it, and it cannot help but find you. This is the divine mathematics, the spiritual law. Your inner speech becomes your outer world. Your assumptions become your evidence. And everything begins to happen, not by force, but by rightness. When you truly assume, there is no desperation. There is no neediness. There is only calm expectation, a quiet joy, a knowing smile, because you understand that the invisible always precedes the visible. You do not need to check for signs. You are the sign. Your state is the evidence, and the world is simply catching up to your vibration. Do not speak of what you lack. Do not rehearse the old story. Let it go. Burn it. Lay it to rest, and write a new one in the sanctuary of your mind. In this new story, you are powerful. You are radiant. You are adored. You are wealthy. You are free. Tell it to yourself every day, not with force but with love, until your inner world becomes so rich,
so vivid, so saturated with the feeling of your wish fulfilled, that reality must obey. People will wonder how you did it. They will not understand that the change occurred long before the evidence appeared. They will not see the countless inner rehearsals, the silent acts of assumption, the secret knowing you carried inside. But you will know. You will remember the moment you stopped hoping and started living as if. The moment you stopped chasing and started assuming. That was the moment everything turned. This world is not solid. It is malleable, responsive, alive. It listens to you, not your words but your state. It is not impressed by affirmations spoken from doubt. It is moved by the assumption felt as real. That is the real prayer. Not the words you speak, but the state you dwell in. Dwell in the state of answered prayer. Let that be your reality. And soon the world will respond with visible proof, not as a reward, but as a mirror. So I urge you, if you want to see everything appear, act as if, not for 5 minutes, not when it's convenient, but as a way of being. Let every thought, every movement, every breath, carry the tone of fulfillment. Walk through life as though it is done, as though every door is open, as though the heavens have already declared your victory. And they have. But you must declare it too, within. No one else can do this for you. No one else can imagine for you. No one else can assume your state. This is your work, and yet it is the most joyous work you will ever do. Because once you truly assume, the effort is over. The striving ends. You are no longer trying to make it happen. You are letting it unfold, and unfold it must. You are not the victim of fate. You are the author of destiny, and your pen is imagination. Your ink is feeling. Write a new chapter, one of triumph, of abundance, of love, and live as though that chapter has already been published in the book of life, because it has. In the unseen, it is finished. In the visible, it is unfolding. And you are the bridge between those two realms. So I leave you with this: do not wait to see it before you believe it. Believe it, and you will surely see it. Walk today in the assumption that what you desire is already yours. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, let your world conform to the boldness of your inner conviction. Let the unseen become your foundation. Let imagination be your compass, and feeling be your guide. There is no power outside of you that determines your fate. It is you, the operant power, the divine dreamer, who molds this world with your assumptions. So act as if you are already blessed, already chosen, already successful, and the world will echo your truth. You are not here to react. You are here to create. You are not here to wish. You are here to assume. And when you act as if you already have everything, the universe bows before your certainty and gives you everything and more. Live from the end, and the end will live through you.
Everything in your world is yourself, pushed out. That is the great secret. And once grasped, it becomes your tool for transformation. You do not become a millionaire by accumulating money. You become a millionaire by assuming the feeling that you already are one. Money will only rush into your experience as a reflection of your inner conviction. If you wait for evidence before you feel wealthy, you will be waiting for the rest of your life. But if you dare to feel that you are already a millionaire, not hope, not wish, but feel it as real, then the evidence will come. The world responds not to your needs, but to your assumptions. It does not care whether the assumption is true or false. The world simply reflects the state in which your consciousness dwells. If you dwell in the state of wealth, then all things necessary to support that state will begin to appear. People will rise up to offer help. Situations will unfold in your favor. The channels will open as if by magic, but it will not be magic, it will be law. Now listen carefully. The law of assumption is the secret, the ancients veiled in symbolism. It is the power of I am. When you say, I am a millionaire, you are not stating a mere affirmation, you are declaring your identity. And whatever you identify with consistently must be externalized. It is not your effort that makes you rich, it is your alignment with the identity of wealth. It is not the struggle of the outer man, but the stillness of the inner one that determines the outcome. I tell you, you must die to who you are in order to become who you desire to be. If you say, I want to be rich, you are confessing that you are not. That state of want only perpetuates its own condition. Instead, close your eyes and live in the end. Not tomorrow, not when the check comes, not when the business succeeds, now. What would it feel like to open your bank app and see an endless sea of numbers? What would it feel like to write a check without looking at the balance? What would it feel like to give generously and without restraint, not out of sacrifice, but out of abundance? Go into the silence and construct such a scene. Use your imagination, which is God in action. Take a simple event, perhaps handing your financial advisor a document worth millions, or walking through a mansion that you own, and do not merely see it, feel it. Feel the leather under your fingertips, feel the weight of the success upon your shoulders, feel the smile playing at your lips as you sign a document of wealth. Do not see these things as a distant dream. See them as now. You must learn to reject the evidence of the senses. The senses will always reflect the past. They are mirrors of who you have been, not who you are becoming. If you allow the senses to dictate your mood, you are bound by the world. But if you impose your mood upon the world, you become its master. This is what is meant when we are told, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The transformation of circumstance follows the transformation of feeling. It is not the world that changes first, it is you. So ask yourself now, can you walk as if you are already the man or woman you desire to be? Can you wake up tomorrow with the peace, the ease, the relaxation of one who lacks nothing? Because that, my friends, is the key. A millionaire is not anxious. A millionaire is not striving. A millionaire does not seek permission. A millionaire moves with calm authority. And you, if you are to manifest this life, must move as they do, think as they do, breathe as they do, before the world shows any sign of agreement. You are told in Scripture, to him that hath more shall be given. This is not cruel. It is law. He who feels rich is given more riches. He who feels poor, even what he has shall be taken away. This is not because God plays favorites, but because consciousness is always expressing itself in form. When you have the feeling of wealth, wealth becomes your experience. The outer must match the inner. It is bound by law. So I say to you tonight, stop waiting. Stop seeking signs. Stop asking when it will come. If you are still asking, it is because you have not accepted. The moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you must drop all concern. It is finished. From that moment on, you rest in the confidence of the invisible. You do not plant a seed and dig it up tomorrow to see if it is growing. No, you water it with belief, with repetition of the mood, with daily returning to the scene of the fulfilled desire. Do you know why some manifest quickly while others struggle for years? Because the former feel their dreams into reality, while the latter only think about them. Thought without feeling is powerless. It is the emotional charge that impresses the subconscious. And the subconscious, once impressed, will lead you unerringly to your desire. It will move people, events, circumstances. It will orchestrate the impossible. But it must be impressed by a feeling of conviction. You can fool your conscious mind, but you cannot fool the subconscious. It knows when you're faking it. That is why you must practice this art with sincerity. Get into a drowsy state, that fertile soil between waking and sleep. In that twilight zone, you plant your seed. Feel that you are already what you desire to be. Hear the words of congratulations. See the smile on your loved one's face. Smell the scent of new leather in your luxury car. Do not just visualize, participate in the scene. When you awaken, do not reach for lack. Do not check your bank account in fear. Walk in the assumption that what you have felt is real. Carry yourself like one who has. Your posture, your tone, your smile, let all of it align with the state of having. And if doubt comes knocking as it always does, answer it not with panic, but with persistence. It is done, you say. I have assumed the state, and I know that assumption, if persisted in, will harden into fact. This is the great secret. Whatever you dare to assume with feeling and persist in, must become your reality. The only enemy is your habit of returning to the old state. The only delay is your reluctance to live in the end. It is not the world that needs changing, it is you. And you can change right now. This very moment, you can assume that you are already rich beyond measure. You can, if you dare, drop all excuses and reasons, and simply declare, I am a millionaire. It need not be shouted. In fact, the quieter the feeling, the more powerful. A deep inner knowing is more effective than loud proclamations. When you really know, you don't need to prove it. You simply are. So walk in that quiet confidence. Dwell in that secret place of the Most High,
your imagination, and know that the world is responding, even when you cannot see it. The money is on its way. The people are aligning, the doors are creaking open. I tell you, feel it now, not tomorrow, not when the opportunity appears. Now, feel the texture of wealth, feel the freedom, feel the gratitude. Gratitude before the gift is the surest sign of mastery. Do not say, I'll be thankful when it happens. Say, thank you, Father, now. Thank the universe, God, your higher self, whatever name you use, for the thing that is already yours in consciousness. And the world, like a faithful mirror, will echo your gratitude with the gift. Money is not the goal. Money is the symbol. The true goal is freedom, is power, is peace, and all of these are states of being. A poor man can feel rich, and the riches will come. A rich man can feel poor, and the wealth will vanish. It is not the digits that matter, it is the state you occupy. So shift your state. Move into the consciousness of I am wealthy, and remain there. You will be tempted, no doubt, to peek, to check, to worry. But remember, the seed grows best when left undisturbed. Cultivate the inner feeling, and let the outer take care of itself. It always does. It always must. Because law is law, and imagination creates reality. So tonight, when you lie in bed, do not count the bills. Count the blessings. Close your eyes and hear the rustle of abundance. Hear the voice that says, well done. Imagine waking up in a world where your wealth is a given, not a question. Feel it until it moves you. Feel it until you no longer need proof. And when the feeling is natural, when it is your dwelling place, then the world will bow to your command. You are the operant power. Nothing comes uninvited. Invite wealth with your feeling. Invite abundance with your imagination. And above all, persist. When the outer shows no sign, persist. When doubt creeps in, persist. When others scoff, persist. For the day you no longer need the world to confirm your wealth is the day the world will. I leave you now with this final thought. You are already that which you seek. The millionaire you want to be is not in the future. He or she exists now, in the invisible realm of imagination. And your task is simply to feel that version of you into being. Clothe yourself in that identity, and walk as if it is already done, because it is. Do not concern yourself with how it will happen. That is not your domain. The how belongs to the bridge of incidents, which will unfold in ways you cannot predict. You are not called to manufacture the path. You are only called to dwell in the end, to feel the scene as if it were already a memory. That feeling, that tone, is your prayer. It is your invitation to the universe. You are speaking to the divine creative power within you, and that power never fails to answer when spoken to in the language it understands. Feeling. Imagine that you have already succeeded beyond your wildest dreams. Imagine that the money you once hoped for is now just a number, barely noticed, because abundance has become so natural. What would change in you? How would you move through the world? Would you still hesitate when tipping? Would you still bargain over your worth? Or would you speak, act and think from a higher plane, a plane of absolute certainty that you are the source and the supply? Feel that. Step into that version of yourself. Because the truth is, you are not manifesting money, you are manifesting yourself. The outer world is always catching up to the identity you assume within. The money is not coming from outside. It is coming through you, called forth by your self-concept. When you say, I am a millionaire, and you mean it, the universe must reorganize itself to mirror that declaration. It cannot do otherwise. It does not judge, does not question, it simply reflects. That is why your only task is to become the version of you that already has what you seek. And the most direct way to do that is through emotion, through feeling. Not by force, not by logic, but by surrendering to the imagined truth, and letting that truth saturate your inner world. You may not know what to do tomorrow. You may not know where the money will come from. But if you know who you are, if you know in your bones that you are a wealthy, prosperous being, then that identity will draw the path to itself. So do not get caught in appearances. Do not let your senses trick you into believing that what you currently see is all that there is. What you see is simply old news, the product of past states. But what you feel now, deeply and consistently, is the seed of what's to come. That seed, watered with repetition, feeling and faith, must grow. You are always creating whether you know it or not. The question is, are you creating by default or by design? Assume the position now. Close your eyes, and see yourself not as the one who wants, but as the one who has. Walk into rooms with the energy of someone whose name is already etched into contracts, who moves with grace because there's no fear of loss. Speak to others with the certainty that you have the power to bless, to elevate, to give without ever running dry. This is not arrogance. This is spiritual awareness. This is the knowing that you are one with the source of all wealth, and that it flows through you effortlessly the moment you believe. You must understand this world is consciousness made visible. The rich man is rich because he feels rich. The poor man is poor because he identifies with lack. These are states, not permanent conditions. You can change states as easily as you change clothes, if you know how. And how do you do it? By withdrawing attention from what is, and placing it firmly on what you desire, and more than desire what you have claimed. Feel it so consistently that it becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. When the assumption becomes natural, the world will conform. It has no choice. That is law. You are the operant power. You are the dreamer, and the dream. You are both the creator and the created. And the moment you truly embody the feeling of already being a millionaire, the moment you walk in that skin, breathe in that identity, and let it become your normal, the game is over. The money, the people, the situations, all of it will appear not because you chased it, but because you became it. Once you know this, you can never go back to the old way of being. You will laugh at the idea of chasing money. You will see that it was never about struggle. It was never about working harder. It was always about consciousness. Your fortune was not out there, buried under someone else's rules. It was always within you, waiting for you to say yes to the truth of who you are. So say yes now, not tomorrow, not when the job comes, or the investment pays off. Say yes now, because now is the only time that matters. Now is the moment of creation. And if you can feel rich now, if you can breathe in the air of success, if you can rest in the knowing that it is done, then all things are possible. You have stepped into your power. You have remembered who you really are. Keep dwelling there. Let the world catch up. Let the evidence unfold, but you remain faithful to the unseen. Because it is the unseen that gives birth to the seen. You are already that which you seek. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and let that be enough. The rest will follow. It must. Remain in that state. Let nothing shake you from it. Let the opinions of others pass like clouds, because they are merely projecting their own assumptions, not reflecting truth. You do not owe anyone an explanation for the power you possess. It is not your job to convince, it is your job to embody. The most powerful people in the world do not explain their wealth. They radiate it. Their silence speaks louder than words. Their inner conviction governs outer reality, not the other way around. Begin to move differently. Begin to respond differently. Let your imagination become more vivid than your memory. Memory can only recycle the past, but imagination creates the future. So if your past has been full of lack, of struggle, of counting every coin, bless it and release it. You are no longer that person. You are not bound to repeat the same cycles. The moment you assume a new state, a new life must form around it. You do not escape by fighting the old, but by stepping into the new. You do not have to resist what is, you only have to replace it. I urge you tonight to go within, not to ask, but to claim, not to beg, but to affirm, this is who I am. Speak it internally, whisper it into the silence. Let the feeling of wealth, of abundance, of freedom wrap around you like a cloak. Walk in it, sleep in it, breathe it until it becomes the only reality you know. And then watch. Watch the outer world change, piece by piece, event by event, as if it had always been that way. There is nothing to wait for. There is no gatekeeper. No one can grant you permission to be wealthy except you. You are the judge. You are the decider. All that's required is the courage to stop waiting and start being. When you feel as if it is already done, there is no gap. There is no delay. The thing itself exists, not in the future, but here, now, in the unseen. And soon, if you persist in that assumption, it must be seen. It must take form. The law cannot fail. Understand this. The more real you make it within, the faster it manifests without. The clearer your inner world, the more rapid the outer reflection. So refine it. Add detail. Enrich your scenes. Make your inner conversations full of certainty. Say to yourself, I love how abundant my life is. Everything I touch turns to gold. Money flows to me in expected and unexpected ways. And don't just say them, feel the truth of them. Make these phrases not declarations of hope, but statements of fact. The most powerful creation you will ever make is your self-concept. That is the foundation of everything. Not how much you know, not what skills you have, not who you network with. It is how you see yourself. When you see yourself as wealthy, you act in ways that invite wealth. You magnetize it. You make decisions that align with abundance, and the universe responds accordingly. People call it luck, but you will know it was always you. Persist in the assumption. No matter how many days pass, no matter what the senses say, you remain in the knowing. I am already a millionaire. This assumption is your sacred inner temple. Return to it often. Dwell in it, not as a tourist, but as a resident. And with time, the world will be forced to show you what you already believe. Let this be your secret power. Not striving but being. Not chasing but assuming. And in that assumption, watch how effortlessly the world bends to your will. Not because you forced it, but because you aligned with the truth of who you already are. You must understand that your imagination is not a weak daydreaming faculty. It is the creative force of God Himself operating through you. When you imagine something and feel it to be true, you are calling it forth from the invisible into the visible. That is the whole mystery. There is no outside authority granting you riches, and no outside force withholding them either. There is only your assumption, and the unwavering law that brings it to pass. So persist, not in effort, but in inner conviction. Let your mornings begin with the thought, I am already wealthy. Let your days unfold with the dignity of one who has arrived. When you walk, walk with assurance. When you speak, speak with calm power. Let even the smallest gestures, the way you hold your coffee cup, the way you sign your name, the way you greet a stranger, reflect your inner wealth. And the more real that inner feeling becomes, the more natural your outer world must conform. The bridge of incidents will take care of itself. You may meet someone unexpectedly who opens a door. A business idea may drop into your mind seemingly from nowhere. A solution will come that dissolves debt, attracts capital, opens opportunity. But all of these are merely echoes of the state you have entered. They are not the cause. You are. The world is a mirror. It reflects not what you want, but what you are conscious of being. So be conscious of being a millionaire, and the world will begin to show you the mirror image. Never underestimate the subtle shifts. When you truly enter the state of the wish fulfilled, your energy changes, your responses change, your choices change. The quality of your thoughts and feelings becomes refined. You no longer react from desperation, but from assurance. You no longer try to control, you trust. This shift in inner quality is the surest sign that the outer manifestation is inevitable. Because once the state is natural, the world must follow. It cannot contradict the dominant state of your being. Now the mind may rebel. It may shout, this is nonsense. Look at your bank account. Look at your debts. Look at your job. But you must treat these thoughts as echoes of an old state. They are ghosts. They have no power unless you agree with them. So gently, silently, return to the new state. Say to yourself, that was who I was, this is who I am now. And feel your way back into the consciousness of already being the person who has everything they once desired. Because that is the paradox. The moment you stop striving for it, and start living from it, you receive it. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And what you are is always revealed by how you feel. If you feel like a millionaire, you are one. If you feel poor, no amount of external riches will change that. So work not on the money, but on the mood. Let the inner transformation come first, and the outer will chase after it like a shadow. Persist, not in doing more, but in assuming more deeply. Let this become your natural tone. Let the sense of wealth sit so firmly in your body, that even if the world tells you otherwise, you simply smile. You know the truth. You've seen the inner movie. You've felt the power of the scene. You've walked the halls of your future home. You've heard your name followed by millionaire. You've looked in the mirror, and seen the shine in your own eyes. That reality is now more real to you than the outer facts, and that is when the miracle happens. When the inner becomes more real than the outer bends, and it always bends. So I say to you now, stop waiting. You do not need to wait for permission, proof or validation. The moment you feel yourself to be the millionaire, you are the millionaire. And the world in all its divine precision will bow to that assumption, not because you fought for it, but because you became it. Do not look for signs. Be the sign. Do not chase money. Embody wealth. Your feeling is the secret. Your imagination is the workshop of God. From this day forward, walk differently, think differently, feel differently. Every breath, every word, every movement must come from the knowing, I already have it. And as you dwell in that truth, as you saturate your mind and heart with the feeling of your wish fulfilled, all things must unfold in perfect order. This is law. This is truth. This is your power. You are not becoming a millionaire. You are remembering that you already are. Feel it now, and let the universe do what it was always designed to do. Reflect the miracle that you are.